Welcome to the Parkscope Unprofessional Podcast Hour. Wait, hold on, beer. We're having a good time right now. There we go. I'm currently pouring a West Coast Citra IPA from Arche Brewing. Not Arche as in one word, which is what one person I know believes what Arche is.
But it's like R period Shay.
Yeah, it's R period Shay, not Arche. Like a French restaurant. It is R period Shay Brewing in Akron, Ohio. The Rust Belt. The heart of the Rust Belt of Ohio. Of America, dare I say.
Absolutely, yeah. This is industrial America. This is what it's all about. This is where things were created.
Completely.
Yeah.
Yeah, like rubber.
Yeah, rubber.
Yeah, Rubber City.
Yeah.
Rubber City. That's what we got. Rubber.
They're blimps.
We can go tomorrow towards, what is it? Hop Frog. We go to Hop Frog, and as you're going to Hop Frog, you pass the Goodyear blimp, like, storage areas.
Yeah.
Anyway, here you go. Anyway, joining me is
Alan.
Alan? Yeah, Gods on Safari, the writer of such articles such as Don't Pour Too Hard and the Beer Won't Spill Over. Also, the my personal favorite is the Temples of Moisture. Was it?
yes, that was a good one.
The water park.
If for some bizarre reason you decide to read my writings over at TotalMMA.com many moons ago, you would have read my reviews of the 2008 Olympic boxing series, or you would have heard me and Dave Walsh. Sorry, Dave. I will totally get your Twitter handle in just a second. Talk about how bad we disliked the UFC at that stage. But, things happen. And
aren't you known, like, internet shitposter that people are, like, thinking is some sort of conspiracy? Like, remember that when Zayn tweeted that out?
I don't know what people think that I am. Like,
it was hysterical to see it, because... Could be just to see being like, okay. Like, wait, I know that person. What is going on here?
The funny thing about like what I do is like, I don't hide at all. Like, if you want to hang out with me, if you want to pick up the phone and call and be like, hey, Alan, do you want to hang out? Like, I'm sociable enough and stupid enough that I'll hang out with pretty much anybody ever, and really doesn't matter. So yeah, well, I've hung out with Zane. Zane knows I'm real.
Yeah.
We crashed go-karts together at Fun
Things
Spot.
happen.
Yeah, it was a great time. By the way, and I know that there's going to be people that listen to this and probably don't go to Fun Spot, but factually, Fun Spot is the most fun that you can have in Orlando, and Zane will also
it's at a spot. I mean, the most fun you can have, and it's at a spot, so
Zane and I, this is 2 years ago? Like a year and a half ago, Zane and I went to Fun Spot. This is how I met Zane. I was like, I think I put on Twitter, I was like, does anybody have, the guts to meet me? And of course nobody does, because I'm me and everyone thinks I'm...
You're badass.
I'm crazy.
You punch
I'm just a wild man.
Yeah, clearly.
And by the way, Dave Walsh is at DVEWLSH on Twitter, and he writes science fiction also, but we did do a podcast for a little while, and by a little while we mean 10 years ago.
So back when, like, everything was starting up.
Yeah, back when, like, podcasts were, like, a new thing that people did.
Back when it was before there was, like, an iTunes library, and you had to, like, search for it and subscribe to the RSS feed.
When the Affliction 2 pay-per-view happened, and we talked about, for, like, an hour and a half about how amazing it was, I would say, like, as far as religious moments go in my life, and I'm not a very religious person.
Glass, please.
Oh, glass. Yes, absolutely.
Because you're pouring terribly. So.
The Affliction 2 pay-per-view would probably be one of, like, the closest things to I've had to, like, a religious experience in my life. So anyways, with Zane, going back to Fun Spot, I was like, dude, we're going to go to Fun Spot. He's like, okay. So we met up. My wife was tired, so she stayed at the hotel and slept. And we basically drank $2.50 Yangling because it's Fun Spot.
Why wouldn't you?
And we rode White Lightning, which for the record, again, is the best roller coaster in Orlando. And I know people are going to sit here and think that I'm crazy saying that. It really is. And the only reason it might not be is because the one that they're going to build in Kissimmee is going to be
sounds fucking good.
Dude, it's going to be so good.
That sounds so good.
Listen, internet, I'm telling you.
Isn't that the last? Isn't this the newest Gravity Group?
It's a Gravity Group coaster with timber liners.
Yeah.
And it's going to have like an inverting drop. It's going to be so good. It's going to be so good.
Isn't this the latest Gravity Group in America
since
Voyage even?
No. They did Coastersaurus.
Okay.
At Storyland. So they've done a couple of basically like junior coasters, which are supposedly very good, between Storyland in New Hampshire, Glen, New Hampshire, and Quasi, which is in Middlebury, Connecticut. And they're good rides, from all I've heard. I also rode Hades 360, which they did a renovation of. And they threw a corkscrew on it and put new trains. Actually, Hades 360 is not bad considering the park that's in, which is pretty much the worst one in North America. Anyway, so we rode that. We rode Freedom Flyer, and we basically did all the go-karts, me and Zane. Mm-hmm. And by the end of the night, they basically don't care. So Zane and I ended up on this one ride on this huge, like, figure 8, like, multi-level go-kart track, and we're T-boning the hell out of one another. Like,
why not?
There's, I assume there's probably parts of our go-karts, like, flying off.
They're probably somewhere in like that lake, in like the middle of Kissimmee.
Yeah, the Orlando location.
Oh, okay. So right near I Drive.
Yeah. So honestly, if you've never been to Fun Spot,
that's why they had to close Wet and Wild, so they can clean up all your
clean up our mess.
Yeah, exactly.
If you've never been to Fun Spot, and I know a lot of people have not. Listen, Fun Spot is open after 8 o'clock, which is something that Universal is often not.
I hear that a lot. Yeah,
and it's open till midnight. It's cheap for Orlando. Use the big air quotes on that one. But the rides are really good. Like, White Lightning is a legitimately really good ride. I can't say really good enough things about it. As far as, like, out and backs go, in case you've never heard the term out and back before.
You can't get a 250 Yingling at B-Dubs.
Yeah, much less at a theme park.
Yeah, you can't get a 250 Yingling at the B-Dubs on iDrive, let alone in an amusement park. So, like... You're losing money if you don't go.
It's a no-brainer. The parking's free.
Yeah.
I think they have metal detectors because they're just shooting or whatever, but, things happen. And then the new Kissimmee location...
That got dark real quick.
that has a tendency with me. What are you going to do? Sorry. I had a tough upbringing. So anyways, we're talking about a bunch of different stuff today, I suppose. We're talking about...
Yeah, sure, why not? So actually... So let's describe this right now. Alan, you're in Akron, Ohio with me. So this is actually technically the first podcast I've done live in person. I tried to do one with Jeff, but it didn't record very well, so I didn't release it. But so you're coming down, we're hanging out, we're going to a bunch of places this weekend, breweries, brewery tours. I think Market Garden actually has a brewery tour that we can do that doesn't require us buying tickets.
We do whatever because, look, it's Cleveland.
Porco, for sure. Oh,
I know that there's some people in the world that think that cities aren't magical, which is a lie. Cities are magical.
Cities are great.
Cities are the best. That's why people move to cities.
I can hate Pittsburgh sports, but no, I'll hate Pittsburgh sports, but I fucking love Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh's great.
Pittsburgh's awesome.
Pittsburgh is so cool.
Pittsburgh's the best.
Dude, I'm going. So next year being this year, so. I went to Morgantown, West Virginia earlier in 2016, or earlier, November of 2016. I went and saw the game with Oklahoma, which was unfortunately a blowout. But it was really cool because, so I go there, and the people in West Virginia are super cool, which you, on some level, I guess you'd kind of expect. Like, rural people tend to be cool on some level if you're cool to them. We were walking, my buddy Will and I. Will got a master's degree over at George Mason. He does foreign policy. He's really big into the Middle East. Great guy. I've known Will for 16, 17 years.
Yeah.
We actually went and drank at this Mexican restaurant down the street because the Mexican restaurant never has a huge crowd compared to the other bars. Like, if you go to a sports bar on the day of a West Virginia football game, it's going to be slammed. If you go to the Mexican restaurant, like, you're going to be drinking like $3.25.
Is this the Bar of Sadness that we were talking about earlier?
No. Oh, okay. I've been to many. No, this is. There's another Bar of Sadness in West Virginia, which I can discuss at some later time. I don't know if we want to do it on this.
No, we don't have to do this one.
Yeah, it's a great bar though for a bar of sadness.
Good.
But Morgantown's really cool, and the people there, like, we were walking to the stadium, and they were like, we basically get to the stop sign. They're like, do you guys know how to get to the stadium? Like, we're asking, these people are like, yeah, you want to go this way? And just follow us. And they're like, you guys must not be very good West Virginia fans. And we're like, nah, man, we're from out of town. I'm from East Lansing, dude. I follow MSU because they fucking pay me money. And they're like, oh, then why are you here? Like, because West Virginia football seems cool, and you guys seem cool.
Yeah.
And this dude literally, like, reaches into his jacket and hands us, like, a Bud Light. And he was like, you're with us now.
You can't leave.
So we were like, yeah, West Virginia football. Let's go Mountaineers. So
Why not?
We sat in our seats. The row in front of us, these dudes were from, like Mississauga or Hamilton or somewhere in Ontario, and we basically just like talked complete nonsense the entire game, and that was the most fun I've ever had at a football game. It was a complete blowout. West Virginia got destroyed. It was kind of sad on some level, but I love Morgantown, even though there's actually a trailer park right next door to the stadium, like across the street. Which makes sense, again, given that it's West Virginia. West Virginia is a wacky place, but
so
that's what it is.
I do have one really important thing we need to talk about your trip.
Yeah.
And a trip I know you've gone on recently.
Talk about anything.
And the really important thing we need to talk about before we get into theme parks is about the Tudor biscuits, I believe, right?
Tudor Biscuit World is
Tudor Biscuit World
is an extremely important thing that is in this. I don't want to say this region necessarily. It's more of a West Virginia thing.
Can we repeat? No, it's in middle of Ohio.
Yeah, there's some in Ohio. There's one in Xenia.
Yeah, Xenia has.
We actually went to that one.
Yeah, which I saw. You and your wife went there. It's in Xenia, so I imagine Dave Chappelle goes there all the time. But Tudor Biscuit World.
Yeah.
Can you explain Tudor Biscuit World? I'm making sure people can understand how crazy this place is.
So let's discuss Tudor Biscuit World.
Yes, let's.
So I've been to 2 locations. I've been to the official downtown Morgantown location on the day after a game day in Morgantown for West Virginia football, and I've also been to the Xenia, Ohio location, which is obviously quite a distance from West Virginia, which is where its home base is at.
But still delicious, I admit.
Still delicious. Tudor's Biscuit World has the best biscuits I have ever had. Hands down. I know that
which is a very like that.
I have had many a biscuit. I'm not an individual that has shied away from rural America in any way, shape, or form.
You embrace it, actually.
I embrace it. It's part of me.
Well, it's not even. I would say you embrace it, but like you're very much a kind of like a traveler. Like
I'm a vagabond.
A vagabond.
I think that's relevant. I think that's an art.
You're not someone who travels around the area and goes like, "Where is my Applebee's?" Like you will find something good in the area, and you're like, "Tudor Biscuit World of biscuits," and you'll go there.
So to be fair, my wife was the first person that brought Tudor's Biscuit World to my attention. We had been talking about going to Camden Park, which is a small amusement park in Huntington, West Virginia, and she was like, "We should go to Tudor's," and I was like, "That sounds like a great idea. I have no idea when we're going to do it." When I came up with this idea of going to Morgantown with my buddy Will, he's like, "We should go to Tudor's Biscuit World. It's great," and I have no reason to doubt his veracity of these claims of how great Tudor's Biscuit World is. So we went, and it indeed is fantastic. The Morgantown location, I'm assuming this is probably true for much of West Virginia, has a wider menu. So basically, Tudor's Biscuit World, if you go there, if you decide that you are going to venture to our part of the world, to become part of us, to see what we're about out here in this crazy Midwestern Rust Belt world, the ones in West Virginia have like probably 30 different sandwiches that are on biscuits.
Really?
Yeah.
30?
30.
Oh shit.
So they've got like you can get like fried bologna and egg and cheese on a sandwich, and then you can get your like cheese and tots with it. These biscuits, the biscuits are.
I gotta go pee and get my cell phone.
Yeah, that's fine.
So I can pull my party horn up
Yeah, we got
for that. But also, you need to talk more about biscuits. So
So Tudor's Biscuit World is extremely important generally in terms of Western culture. I think there's an individual who I follow over on Twitter who described the disappearance of Tudor's Biscuit World from the greater Charlottesville area as being cultural genocide. That would be R. Robertson, R at symbol H or at symbol RHOBERTSON at twitter.com. He's a great PhD candidate sociologist. I do academia. That's what I do. But anyways, the Ohio location Xenia does not have nearly as many things, but it has this incredibly bizarre homey location. There's floral print coverings to the tables. There's just a general feeling like it belongs to somebody that is from this deep rural America that you don't quite understand if you've never lived in it, if you've never seen it. It's not this hipster version of rural America. It's the real thing. It's when I grew up. So I grew up in Colchester, Connecticut, many years ago. It's the wrong side of the Connecticut River. Most of that time was spent in a duplex. Nothing says high class like a fucking duplex. And the duplex owner was this dude that had chronic depression. His wife, her family owned the duplex. They had horses, goats, chicken, and dogs in the backyard. It's an extremely rural area. Will, who I went to go to see the game at Morgantown, West Virginia with, when he came to Connecticut for the first time and stayed with my dad and I, he said that he didn't believe there were any white trash in Connecticut. Which is a hilarious...
Oh, man.
I literally was like, you don't believe there's any white trash? He's like, nah, there's no such thing. I'm from Charlottesville, Virginia. I know white trash. I Dugan the car. We drove 20 minutes to Norwich, Connecticut. He saw Surplus Plus. There's a 40-foot cowboy out front with an American flag. As soon as we parked the car, we parked directly in front of a pickup truck that was getting a jump. The dude from the pickup truck had a cowboy hat on, overalls, no t-shirt. The woman that was giving him the jump had a Big Bird t-shirt on.
Like the Muppet.
Like the Muppet Big Bird, yeah.
Okay.
So this is the kind of Connecticut that I grew up with. And I know that not everybody grew up in that Connecticut. The kind of Connecticut that grows up to decide to use methamphetamines. And that's fine. I respect that. But that's what I dealt with on a daily basis. I have no idea what I was talking about up to that.
Tudor's Biscuit World.
Tudor's Biscuit World.
How great is it? Okay, so I have the...
great. I would say that it's probably in... If you consider things like In-N-Out and Culver's and...
Culver's
is a great cultural institution in our area.
So here's my thing.
Yeah.
Fried...
cheese curds?
Cheese curds.
Fantastic.
Plus the blueberry custard.
It's
throw float... See, we did the decision. So you put the blueberries into the custard for sort of a milkshake kind of thing. That's my jam.
Yeah, Culver's is fantastic if you've never been up this way.
I think they have Culver's in Florida now.
Do they?
I think they do. They have Strickland's in Sarasota, which is the Cleveland there are kind of our custard stand kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
There's a place somewhere in Western New York that has chopped beef and custard.
Orlando has a Wawa now.
Really? Oh yeah. I've been there. It's over by SeaWorld.
I mean, Wawa is fantastic. Wawa is
good.
Life.
I love Sheets. The thing is...
That's right.
I feel bad that Joe has not been to Knoebels yet.
Schmuffins.
Because on the way to Knoebels, if you come from Danville, which is the way that everybody comes to Knoebels...
Right, I'm going to try this real quick.
There is a sheet...
There we go. Okay, I'm just making sure... Okay, hold on.
Official,
what about this? So this is a buzzer.
What do we got here?
Oh, that's a real drum roll. Sorry, I'm trying out the cell phone app right now.
The air horn is important because I listen to Chief Keef all the way down here.
Rim shot. Okay. Rewind. So I think these top ones are sound bites, so these are going to be terrible. So please bear with us. It's not a necessary guarantee on the quality of our podcast. So
Yeah, boy.
oh my God.
I love
so
Public Enemy. It's great.
Check this out. How low can you go?
I just want to let know, like, to everybody that's out there online, like, if they had any idea how drunk I was right now, it's fantastic.
I know you gonna dig this.
We need, like, some Michael Made It's thrown in there. It's just good.
Anyway, sorry. My
Let's talk about
apologies.
theme parks. Let's talk about theme parks, because we've gone very
So,
long.
Alan, I guess the first thing we should talk about is the European Coaster Club.
Because you joined it today.
Yeah, I literally just joined this. So, Alan, you brought down what I would classify as a phone book
I brought
of amazingness.
Yeah, I brought down a copy of First Drop number 100, which admittedly is a bit big for the folks over at ECC. I've known about ECC forever. I've known Justin. So some backstory.
And the ECC is the European Coaster Club.
European Coaster Club.
What's their website? Can you name it right
It's
now?
coasterclub.org.
There you go.
I can even name that immediately drunk. It's incredible.
Amazing.
Amazing. So this has been so 13 years. Is it 13 years? No, 14 years ago. So I went to the. No, it's more than that. It's 15 years ago. Dear God. So Sean Flaherty, who was the PR director of the American Coaster Enthusiasts, and I are very good friends. I was actually messaging him the last day, and this is many years ago. I went to Chessington Worlds of Adventure in London prior to the American Coaster Enthusiasts ECO trip, which, for the record, is the most important coaster enthusiast trip of all time. And when I got on the train, Justin Goranovic, who is the guy that founded the European Coaster Club, and a bunch of other people were on there. And I basically followed Justin around and discovered London. I rode the drop tower that was at... There's an indoor drop tower in downtown London for a long, long time. And I can't remember where it's at now because I'm probably way too intoxicated to remember that kind of thing.
You're not that... Like we went to Arche, you had a hop slam... And now we're having some West Coast IPA from Arche, so it's not that bad.
Yeah, no, that's true. It shouldn't be that bad, but realistically, yeah.
Anyway,
I'm feeling good.
sorry, continue.
So, anyways, I've known about the European Coaster Club for a very long period of time, and I finally decided to join this year. It just seemed like it was the right time because they have an excellent newsletter. The First Drop is probably the best newsletter that you can buy outside of maybe getting in a subscription to Amusement Today. And I'd even suggest that it might be better than that.
Clearly. I mean, this is a 200-page booklet.
Yeah.
Glossy page. So, when you mentioned that you bought it, and I saw the book you got for it, I thought this was like $50 right here. And you're like, oh, guess what? I paid $48 for the subscription, and you get 6 of these. And I'm like, what? This is a very, very fucking nice book. I'm sorry.
Nice.
If you like coasters at all, there's 200 pages, very glossy, with great stuff in here.
It's full color. You get trip reports from places like Iran. You get trip reports from places like Myanmar.
What kind of industry insiders are
You've got Roland Mack has an interview in this book. I mean, there's stuff that, the thing about the ECC is that Justin Goranovic, honestly, is, as people go in this industry, he writes also for the Kermes magazine from Germany. He's the best. And he brings the best people to the dance in terms of doing what ECC does. The kind of people that are involved with it are just flat out the most ridden people in the world. And when I say the most ridden people, I mean the people that have been to the most theme parks, been on the most rides, seen the most stuff. I talk about George Greenway. George Greenway is an ECC member. He has been on the most number of roller coasters on the face of the earth. He is an ECC member. I'm going to talk about Richard Bannister. which is at Noxegon, Noxegon on Twitter. A great follow, a guy that I've known for a long, long time. I actually, if you go on Richard Bannister's website and you look at his very first trip report from 2002, when he goes to, it was Fantasy Island and Baden's Pleasure Beach. You can see pictures of me as a teenager. That's how long ago this was.
Yeah, I remember those videos during the Rob Alvey. Those days.
I know.
We'll end that there.
Look, I know a lot of people don't like Rob. I've known Rob since 1999, so 18 years.
Yeah, that's...
We've had some issues here and there. We've gone over them. Rob and I get along just fine. And, whatever you want to say about Theme Park Review, you can say it. He's an extremely successful individual in terms of website design and operation.
Yeah.
And forum operation. And in terms of asking questions of what goes on in theme parks, I ask him usually.
If you want to run a successful theme park business, like fan-wise, it's all about trips and community. Yeah. And he runs, and he owns that.
He does a great job.
I have the utmost respect on that point. Like other things, I think he's an asshole about. I'll be the first one to say that. But I have the apps, from a business perspective, completely.
Rob knows that he's an asshole.
Well,
he knows this. He knows this intrinsically, and that's fine. The thing
I would punch him, and I think he would be like, "Yeah, that's okay."
No. See, the thing is, if you actually met Rob, because my wife has met Rob.
We've talked about people I'd punch today, actually. You know what? I would not punch Rob. I would be angry at him, but I'd be like, "Okay, I'd listen to you." But I would be like, "Rob, you've been kind of an asshole to friends and me," and you'd be like, "Oh yeah, I'm an asshole," and I'd be like, That's sort of fucked up, but okay, fine, I'll move out.
45 minutes with Rob, you'd be cool to him.
Sure,
I guarantee you. I bet you money. I know Rob.
Then
that's just the way it is. Let's set it up. It's just the way it is, and Rob and I get along. We've whatever beef that we had in the past,
Chief
squashed.
Chief. Sorry, this is a running gag with the Giant Beast cast. So Planet Coaster. I
really need to get a computer to play it because
they have a character called Chief Beef in it.
Really?
And the character is Chief Beef, and the giantbomb.com. Giantbomb.com, the best.
Do you have that? Do you have Planet Coaster?
No, I can't play that.
Oh my god.
But they nominated Chief Beef for the best new character in 2016 because they made this whole entire Chief Beef thing about him, oh yeah, he's this criminal is trying to bring down crime, Chief Beef. So whenever they bring up beef or something happening, they're like, oh yeah, Chief Beef. Yeah, Chief Beef. It happened this week 3 times. It's Chief Beef. Anyway, sorry. Chief Beef. Chief Beef. I will have to link this. I'll show you the video, and I have to link this video.
We're already at a half hour point. We haven't talked about theme parks, really.
No, yeah, we're at 28 minutes. Right
yeah. We should probably talk about that.
No, this can go for 3 hours. No one gives a fuck, so who cares? So anyway,
we get 115 listeners or whatever.
Yeah.
By the way, did you see the Illinois views? We actually did decent views on that.
On Illinois?
Yeah. I posted to Facebook. So there's this guy that runs the RCDB webpage on Facebook, and he also runs the Small Amusement Parks in America, and he lets me link his shit there.
Ooh.
So I get some hits off of it.
Oh, okay.
So I try to do what I can, I try to feed it. Okay. I actually tried to email Lance Hart over at Screamscape.
I met Lance.
Really? You did?
So it was a handshake. It was one of those handshakes when it was me running around Universal Studios Florida when all the important people were being escorted around the park before Diagon Alley was opening. So it was me and Brian from Orlando United running around being like, ah! And then I'm like, hey, you're Lance from Screamscape. It's like, yeah, I'm leaving the Transformers meet and greet, and we're going to Springfield in Moe's Tavern to talk to, God, who did Kong? Mike West?
I have no idea.
Someone like that. Anyway, sorry, my apologies.
I'm a coaster guy.
So. Yeah, no, that's fine. So they're like, oh yeah, we're going from the meet and greet at Transformers. We're going over to Springfield, and it's like the same thing with Seth Kubersky. Like Seth Kubersky's great. Also, I'm gonna throw that one on. Throw him there right now. Yeah, Seth's great. So I met Seth. I'm like, hey, it's nice to meet you. Like the first time we met, like nice to meet you. That's really great. And he's like, yeah, great, good. No idea who I probably was. I probably was like a crazy person to him. But yeah, I met Lance that way the first time too. So
the only I don't have anything negative to say about Lance except he doesn't link my stories, and he used to link my story or not like my stories, but he used to link stories of friends of mine. So I thought that was kind of like messed up. Like I've been nice to get like links to my stories because you get hits. Who doesn't love hits?
Lance gets good info, but
Lance gets some good info. Like it just depends. Like not everybody that has good info is going to email Lance. Like I get info. I'm not saying that I'm special, but
so are you going to throw us down some super secret hints right now on the podcast?
No. Okay, I don't have any. Like nobody. Honestly, the only thing that I know is that Main Street is opening in 2018. That's it.
That's what I've heard
and
too.
You've already heard that from me.
Oh wait, what's going on here? No, don't do that to me. Here we go.
Yeah,
boy.
So, Main Street is opening in 2018. If you didn't already know that, the reopening of it as an RMC coaster is going to happen then. And
what about Hurler at Kings Dominion 2017?
I've never been specifically told.
Okay.
The thing is, like, when people tell me information, it's usually like,
hey, did you hear this?
Yeah, it's like, and then I'm like, no, nobody tells me shit. And then people are like, oh, by the way, and then, and it's like, oh, okay. So that's how I found out about like everything that was going into Six Flags this year. Literally, like the way I found out about Six Flags this year is I messaged a friend of mine when I heard about something that was going on, and he's like, dude, can you stop like following what the local areas are like the local zoning areas are doing? And I was like, I have nothing to do with it. Like it literally appeared on theme park reviews forums, and he's like, oh, okay, by the way, did you hear about all this stuff? And he's like, oh, okay, that's cool, thank you. But yeah, so Mean Streak, if you didn't already know, Mean Streak is going to be opening in 2018. Like that's a real shock. Like they would not sit there and tell you that they're going to open a new roller coaster next year at Cedar Point. I assume that whatever's going to be happening to Hurler is going to be happening for the 2018 season. I know
that makes sense.
I know a lot of people have been talking about how Carowinds might be opening something for the 2018 season. I've heard somewhat similar. I've heard similar things for California's Adventure, which is their park over in the Northern California area. To be honest with you, I really can't answer those questions. At some point, somebody probably in July or August, whoever that may be, will message me and be like, "Hey, dude, did you hear about this thing?" I'll be like,
"Bro, you hear it?
You hear about what we're doing?" Like, no. Why don't you tell me? And then everything comes out at that point. So, and then of course I'm really bad at holding secrets with really good friends. So then I tell them, and then they tell you people on the internet, and then you don't really listen to them because you should. Because I'm telling you the truth. I have no reason to lie. I'm trying to think what's going on. But the only thing that I would tell on the internet is that Cedar Fair parks are probably much more likely to purchase Star Flyers in the future.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I think
and you see one opening up at Valley Fair, and hopefully they sell more. Star Flyers, by the way, are better than the rides they were purchasing from Mondial. So it's a good deal for everybody involved, and hopefully that happens.
Okay.
But I really have nothing else to say about other than that.
So I think there's a few things we need to talk about.
Sure. We got the Silver Dollar City, so let's go over like.
You want to go with the silver? Yeah, let's do some news, and we'll do the news.
Yeah.
There we go.
So Silver Dollar City, according to Screamscape, looks like we have a name and a theme to Silver Dollar City's 2018 coaster. They failed to trademark to use the name time traveler last month. You can tell I'm completely wasted at this stage.
You're all wasted. Bow.
Completely
Bow.
wasted. The theme here is not true time
Bow.
travel, but more of a crafty roadside attraction style of time travel where guests are invited to test the time machine and take a spin, which is take a spin specifically in quoting marks, because everybody has been saying for, I don't even know how long, that's a Mack spinning coaster.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much the deal. It's going to be over by their current Aero Mine coaster. If you have never been to Silver Dollar City before, and I know that the person currently sitting directly to my right, who I have made rare amounts of eye contact to because I am so...
That's what I'm trying to do right now is like, because normally I'm just like staring at a window or something. So like, it's really nice to do an actual podcast with someone who's right, like to the left of me.
I am
really nice.
So messed up. It's incredible.
No, you're not that bad.
You think I'm not that bad, but I'm telling you right now that I'm doing an incredible impression of somebody that's borderline sober.
Great.
Yeah, no, it's the best I can do. Silver Dollar City, if you have never been there, if you're an individual that thinks that Branson is probably like old shows and like weird Christian people that wear long skirts, I mean, it's not entirely untrue. But I think in fairness, that Silver Dollar City, for me personally, I would say that it's probably one of my favorite theme parks in the United States. It's a park that has multiple levels. What I mean by multiple levels is you have things like, you have these like rope bridges that go over certain sections of the park. You have this very large scale, you have 2 dark rides actually at that park. You have some very unique roller coasters. You have a very unique raft ride. You have a lot of stuff that's really cool there. There's not a lot of parks that are like Silver Dollar City. Even Dollywood, which is ostensibly in some level a copy of Silver Dollar City, but is not quite as good as Silver Dollar City. So the fact that they're getting this very large custom Mack spinning coaster, as I understand it, is very, very appealing to me. I am very excited to go back to Silver Dollar City. I was actually talking to my wife about going there this past Thanksgiving or New Year's because we had Dollywood season passes this year.
Thanksgiving's...
I mean, it can be kind of busy, but also with the new Christmas light thing that they're going to be doing, which is going to be very similar to, though apparently not exactly Osborne Christmas lights. This is
not technically Osborne.
Not technically Osborne's Christmas lights. It looks a whole lot like the best of the concepts. We went to Dollywood this past, and I say we, my wife and I went to Dollywood this past New Year's. Fantastic Christmas setup. I would say that the Hershend parks in general are, because they're a private company and they can do things that are more theistic. As far as Christmas, they do Christmas extremely well. Their parks in general are very good to begin with. The crafts that they do at their parks are completely different than anything if you've only done Orlando and California.
So the Hirschfield parks in general.
Yeah, the Hershend parks in general are great. Yeah. Because you can do things. You can go to the Hershend parks and buy a bed frame for $2,500. You can go to the Hershend parks and buy
the Walt Disney dream.
Yeah, you can buy a grandfather clock and take it home that was handmade at Dollywood
for like probably $2,000
for an extreme amount of money, but it's handmade and you know where it was made.
Or you can go to Disney World and like eat at a shitty restaurant for $2,000.
Exactly.
So so here's a thing I heard recently is that Hirschfeld is looking to buy the Artigan property at Orlando for an indoor sort of like amusement park complex,
or like a family entertainment center.
A family entertainment center, which we can talk about more about. Especially one that focuses on Christmas, indoors, snow.
I would be fine with that. I think that Hershend, as far as what Hershend has done in terms of their parks, between Wild Adventures, Dollywood, and Silver Dollar City, there's really not much of an argument about it. I would say that actually Silver Dollar City is probably one of America's finest theme parks. If you've never been there, you're really missing out.
Yeah, I'm missing out. Yeah, I'm the first one to say that.
The very first thing with Silver Dollar City that makes it extremely different from anywhere else is a lot of these theme parks that you've been to are castle parks or studio parks. Like there's one of the two.
That's really what's been developed is a castle park or a studio park. Yeah.
Silver Dollar City, because it is intended to more or less imitate the Frontier, has a lot of frontier theming to it. But the big item is the Marvel Cave. And if you've never seen Marvel Cave can hold, I want to say it was 5 hot air balloons at one time.
Oh, really?
It's humongous. And, like, I had been told that Marvel Cave was really impressive. And, you know, people could tell you things all day long.
Until you see it.
Until you actually see it. And then you go, oh, this is ridiculously huge. And so there's a real cave, and there's like a 30-minute walk through the cave. And at the end of the cave, you go and take this incline railway, which I can't remember the specific name of what incline railways are.
Lower your hand so
I apologize.
they can hear you.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. You can do this. Maybe not like this. You can't keep your teepee. Your secrets are your teepee in here.
I'm good at that. So it has a funicular that actually has a curve to it.
Okay.
I think it was one of the first ones that was ever built. It's a very, very good theme park. Aside from that, the actual rides that are there, like Outlaw Run, Powder Keg, the dark rides, the fact that it has a walk-through fun house in Grandfather's Mansion.
That's pretty nuts.
It's really cool. Highly recommended.
I still need to go back to Kennywood when they redid their Noah's Ark.
We got to go to Kennywood. I live close enough. Again, this is when we talk about Pittsburgh.
when it was the old Kennywood.
We got to go to Pittsburgh, and then we also have to go to Idlewild. Have you been to Idlewild yet?
Yeah, I went a long time ago.
Because you know that they changed
Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood.
Yeah, to Daniel Tiger.
You know, I haven't been. I have not been to Idlewild since I was probably 7 or 8.
So true story.
And I am 30 right now. So I'm just saying.
So I am 33. I turn 34 next month. I worked at Cedar Point when I was age 20.
There we go. Hey.
And I went to Idlewild for a grand total of about 75 minutes to get the credits. I never even went.
Should happen.
Mr. Rogers, which, by the way, Mr. Rogers also had a queue line.
Mr. Rogers is great. Also,
I really want to go to Mr. Rogers. Mr. Rogers has a queue line with no, like, standing line.
Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood ride.
That takes guts, man.
It's fantastic. It's actually a really good ride.
I figure, like, Daniel Tiger, because it's so based on the Mr. Rogers mythology, has to be very good.
So I was driving out to Pittsburgh this past weekend to go to the Dayton Flyers game against Duquesne, and I was passing Daniel Tiger, like, advertisements. It was like me and Pascal just keep going. And I'm like, oh god, I need to go to
you haven't been to Waldemere either.
I don't think I've ever been to Waldemere. But here's the thing, like Erie, we need to go to Erie, and we need to do Erie. We need to do Erie, yeah.
Yeah, so Ravine Flyer 2 is really good. It's like a miniature version of The Voyage.
No, yeah, I know. I need to go to Erie.
It's not like like, there's a dark ride, there's a walkthrough.
When does it open?
Tracy's.
So
it's open from May until Labor Day.
Okay, so
there's a whole period, the entire summer. Like, if you say, Alan, do you want to go to Waldemere? I will not resist.
So, my best friend worked at Waldemere for a while.
He hates it, though, right? Because he worked there. Yeah,
because he worked there. So, basically, it's going to be us going to Waldemere and then us hanging out with my best friend. That's basically what I'm hearing.
You can come with us to Conneaut.
Conneaut? Yeah, sure.
It's still open.
Hey, guess
somehow.
What? Hey, do you know what he also... Guess what else he likes?
What?
Southern Tier.
That's great.
Southern Tier Brewery? Fantastic. Fuck yeah, why not?
So we wanted to talk about, like, let me see what else was going on. So we talked about Busch Gardens. So Busch Gardens has some sort of POV or something like that that's up of Invader. Yeah, I have not watched it yet.
I haven't watched it either.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Do you want to watch it together?
Is it on YouTube?
They have it up. I know it's on YouTube or something. Yeah. I thought that they had it from a Screamscape had posted something, but we'll figure it out.
They just had some video of like the pictures of it. Oh, Christmas stuff. That's great.
Christmas.
You know, Screamscape actually does not have. It just has like a look at it, which is fine. Coaster Studios has posted a final look. Coaster Studios is so bad.
Someone posted a video of Invaders track layout, I thought.
I'm sure it's going to be good. GCI, I know there's some people. So in the coaster community, I don't know if you're very familiar with the coaster community aside from because I'm kind of like the conduit.
Give or take.
So GCI and CCI / Gravity Group. They're largely CCI and Gravity Group are kind of seen as the same way because those two companies kind of build rides that have consistent or longer periods of airtime, whereas GCI typically builds shorter, like very short periods of somewhat extreme airtime into their rides.
Okay, yeah.
Busch Gardens Williamsburg, like it's not terribly interesting. I know a lot of people are very interested in Mystic Timbers because it's mostly like an L-shaped
at Kings Island.
Yeah,
Kings Island.
At Kings Island, it's more of like an L-shaped out and back layout. I'm very excited for it.
I think it's an interesting coaster, but I mean, I'm not more interested than like Tomb Raider or even like like Tomb Raider or Diamondback.
Yeah,
or Banshee. I'm just not.
For me as a wood coaster guy, like there's naturally going to be an interest for me in what Mystic Timbers does, regardless of what it does. Like it can suck.
What's in the shed?
What's in the shed? Nobody knows. It's transfer track.
Yeah, I know.
It's transfer track.
It's just
and maybe some video.
Some smoke.
All I can say is that this is the same park that created Adventure Express. Which is amazing. Which is a great mine train,
but it's the ultimate like anticlimactic ending. Totally. So I took a lane on it. I'm like, this is the greatest ride in the world you'll ever experience.
I love Adventure
The
Express,
ending,
by the way,
is going to be so anticlimactic, and he's like, no, it won't be. And I'm like, it will be. And then we ride it, and they're like. So anyone who's ridden Adventure Express knows what's going on right now, and they're just like. And he's like, oh shit.
You're thinking like, oh my god, something amazing is going to happen. And literally, like, you get off the lift hill. Like, it's the last lift hill. Because basically, the ride does not... Most roller coasters begin with a lift hill and then a drop.
Yeah.
In this case, basically, you go immediately out of the station and go into a drop. And then it does stop.
Drops.
It drops.
The whole ride.
Yeah. It goes into a valley because Kings Island... Regardless of what you think you know about the Midwest, it turns out we actually do have terrain every once in a while.
Yeah, and Kings Island has it.
It has tons of terrain.
Yeah, Kings Island's great.
So it basically goes down a bunch of terrain. It ends with a lift hill. You come up, you turn right, and you're in the station after the last lift hill. You know what? I think I've ever even asked Lane about that. I should have. Lane and I we need to go. We're going to go to Holiday World with Lane.
Yeah,
that's important.
in June.
Yeah, in June. Absolutely. So I don't really expect that much in terms of what Mystic Timbers is going to do. Mm-hmm. If it does anything at all that's kind of interesting, I'll be happy.
It's going to be a good family coaster.
It's going to be more than a good family coaster. It's going to be a decent wood roller coaster. I don't know if it's going to be like... It's not going to be like challenging for like the world's best or anything like that, but I think that GCI has built enough good roller coasters in China for the last few years. There's Wood Roller Coaster Kingdom. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to remember the name of it is right now. It's one of the OCT parks that's over in China. They've built several roller coasters in China that have looked quite good and that are well received in terms of the people that have done wood coaster polls. But generally speaking, the actual sample size of those individuals that have gone on those rides is very, very small.
Yeah.
We're basically talking about very small people, very small group of people that is,
very small people, but a very small group of people too. We're all
people in the first.
Oh, we're all Europeans. I see how it is, Alan. Okay, yeah.
Because Americans
are 5'8", 5'9". Okay,
yeah, it's what it is. So those people have gone, but for the most part, aside from the very extreme coaster enthusiasts, which are the Richard Bannisters or Martin Vault types, very, very, very few people have gone over there, and very few people have actually talked about it. Really, aside from Richard Bannister, none of these people write TRs that are at the very high end of the coaster enthusiast sort of numbers. Mm-hmm. Not even, again, going back to Rob Alvey. Rob's a great guy, in my opinion, but Rob doesn't really write detailed trip reports of roller coasters.
He
does very
films
general
them.
stuff. He does filming, and that's what he does. And God bless him, because without it, we wouldn't have videos of stuff like the looping toboggan that's located in Shanghai along the beach. So
That's one we have to watch tonight.
Oh my
I have
God.
not seen that one.
oh my God, it's
A looping toboggan is something I need to see tonight.
there's boxing headgear involved for
Oh
riders.
my God, no.
Because it's that bad. It's a Chinese ripoff. I mean, like, the
I
toboggan
imagine
is
it
built by
is,
chance
but-
to begin with in the 70s. And then you throw a vertical loop into it. It's just not good.
Jesus Christ. Okay, yeah.
So these people that are... This is one of the things that goes back to the piece that I wrote about theme park fans on Parkscope. A lot of people that talk about theme parks on the internet, specifically on Twitter... When we talk about these people, like, a lot of these people are Disney fans. I didn't grow up as a Disney fan. I mean, I went to Disney a lot. I went to Disney when I was a kid in, like, 92, 94, 96. It's how I got kind of interested in theme parks. But the way that I got, like, really interested to the point where I was, like, obsessed on some, like, pseudo-autistic level was by realistically watching Discovery Channel television shows in 96.
All the old specials.
Oh
like
my dude, I was
Funhouse and stuff like that.
So who's that Wesley James that talks mess to us? So he's like, I was on this Discovery Channel special. Dude, I was in a Discovery Channel special 15 years before Wesley James.
Oh yeah.
Writing
that guy.
Speed the Ride. I'm like 17 years old with a huge zit on my nose writing Speed and Big Shot.
Like even Jeff who writes our stuff
Yeah.
for the top, Disney attractions never built. Like, we still watch stuff from Discovery and Travel Channel where it's like, the best, like, the Funhouse.
Yeah, the Funhouse episode was good. That was a
Funhouse is great, which was uploaded by Foxy. That's one of the best. Like, I really like the stuff she does. Which I really like.
Like the thing to me is like here's the thing with like Foxy.
But I like
Foxy. Like I feel like I'm in competition with Foxy.
Okay, fair enough.
No, just to Foxy. Like Foxy does her thing. Like she's a Disney fan, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not really a Disney fan. I'm like, I see myself as like a holistic theme park or roller coaster or amusement ride fan. Like I love everything.
So you're the Dirk Gently of theme parks.
I love everything. Like I'm not to the point where I can. If you show me a picture of a carousel, I can't tell you who carved it.
But what I'm saying is like she uploaded that.
Yeah.
But also like she uploaded that like e-ticket kind of Dark House episode.
Yeah.
And like
Foxy
that's
is a
awesome.
Disney fan, right?
Yeah.
Like primarily is a Disney fan, and that's fine. Like I respect.
And that's great.
That. That's cool. Like
That's actually really great.
If you love Disney, like I don't care what you upload. Like I just want the information to be out there. If you have the information out there, then that's great. I'm who I am.
Yeah.
Foxy grew up in Newtown, Connecticut, which I actually went to quite a bit because there was the Newtown Teen Center. There was a lot of hardcore shows there. My buddy Kyle and I went to a lot of shows all over Connecticut. I have a VHS of, there's a band that's playing right now in Detroit called City of Caterpillar. They had a couple of the members of the band were in a previous band called Page 99. They played at the Newtown Teen Center, and this is 1999 or 2000. They had a famous show where they basically, all the people ran in the back, like broke into the back of that concert venue and stole pillows and had a pillow fight in the mosh pit. One dude completely stripped naked and wore a sock over his genitals. Like, this is just the shit that happened. Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize.
It's all good.
I'm spilling beer. This is a tragedy. So
Exactly.
I respect, like, I have no issue with Foxy. Like,
No.
my general issue is just, like, not general issue, but my general belief is, like, I just want to be, like, I feel like I need competition with people. Yeah, I'm a holistic guy. I love not only carousels, I love roller coasters, I love flat rides, I love themed individual bits of amusement parks.
You love unthemed bits.
I love unthemed bits of amusement parks. I love historic aspects. I love literally everything. Like this is what has been a huge part of my life for almost 20 years. I've been doing this shit since 1997. Like I decided that I was going to be interested in this in 1996. So it's been 21 years since I decided to get into this.
And same with me, like in like a general aspect too. So one of the things I want to talk to you about that I brought up before that I want to talk to you about is basically it kind of stemmed from the whole entire Guardians of the Galaxy Tower of Terror thing.
Yeah, that is.
And California Adventure.
Because you're like wholly against it.
I'm against it. I'm against it from a sort of this is how it is right now aspect. But I would like to hear your aspect from your take on it.
From my perspective.
Yeah, your perspective, and then I would like to counteract and we'll discuss
like
about
we go
this.
back and forth, like kind of thing. So here's my thing with the Tower of Terror getting turned into a Guardians of the Galaxy ride. Mm-hmm. So probably where we differ most is the idea of Disney being exceptional. There's like an exceptionalism. Like there's a lot of talk in terms of how we perceive the world of American exceptionalism. And people who live outside the United States believe in things like French exceptionalism, British exceptionalism. Like these are not unique things. Chinese exceptionalism. You know, people that live in China, when you talk to them about something like Tibet, people don't sit there and say like Tibet should be a free place. Mm-hmm. It should be its own independent country. Like they believe that Chinese people from places like Shanghai and Beijing, Xi'an, Guangzhou, name your city in China. Like they look at places like Tibet and they say like that's kind of like our birthright.
Yeah,
like we deserve Tibet. Okay, and whether or not you or I believe that Tibet should be its own independent place and that should have its own ability autonomously to create its own laws or to operate is somewhat irrelevant in that viewpoint, because obviously right now it's operated by China. Mm-hmm. The people of China, the majority of people that live in China, believe it should belong to China, and that's the way it is. Mm-hmm. When we talk about the Tower of Terror being shifted over to the Guardians of the Galaxy, which this seems like a strange analogy, and I understand it's
and when you really look at it, you're like, fuck. But
So when you talk about this, when you look at the history of amusement parks, which undoubtedly Disney's California Adventure is an amusement park.
Yeah.
Not, obviously it's themed, right?
Well, give or take minus. Well, I mean, California's Adventure has its own history and kind of thing, but yes.
But regardless of whether or not you want to say that's as themed as Disneyland or the Magic Kingdom or Puy de Fou or any other theme park that you want to name on the face of the planet,
more or less,
it's clearly a themed park. It clearly falls under the banner of a theme park. Mm-hmm. But theme parks also are really a subgenre, by and large, of amusement parks. Mm-hmm. That's not to say that every theme park is, because living museums. And, for example, Skansen, which is located in Sweden, and Stockholm, located right next door to Gronelund, Greenfield Village in Detroit, the Mystic Seaport, which is located in Connecticut. These are places that are not necessarily amusement parks, right? They don't really have amusement rides, or if they do have amusement rides, they're very limited. Greenfield Village only has, you can ride in a Model T, which is built by Ford, or you can ride in a carousel, which is a Herschel carousel, which is a steel carousel. But aside from that, there's not really rides. There aren't roller coasters. There aren't dark rides. There aren't things of that nature. When you talk about...
I have new shorts, sorry.
That was incredible.
They don't smell like beer anymore, so that's really
fantastic. Good. I apologize about that.
All good.
If there wasn't any questions to whether or not I was wasted beforehand, that should answer.
You're all wasted.
I'm incredibly So realistically, like most theme parks, at least the ones that we talk about.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Because there are theme parks that we really don't discuss on a regular basis.
That's actually a fantastic point, though.
I usually bring up Puy de Fou as an excellent example in France, because Puy de Fou is definitely a theme park. there's no argument that Puy du Fou is not a theme park. Puy du Fou even has a drone show as part of its main show at night.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
They were the first to have a drone show.
That's absolutely incredible. Way before Disney? Who'd have thought?
So, Puy du Fou is this amazing
by the way, this
park.
is all facetious as I say this right now.
So Puy du Fou is this great theme park, but they don't really have any rides. Like, they may have some manually operated rides, somewhat in the fashion that a Renaissance fair would. Mm-hmm. But they don't really have any traditional, like, dark rides, or roller coasters, or flat rides, or sky rides, or anything, transportation rides, anything like that. So when we talk about theme parks, particularly in the Disney-centric way, we're talking really about amusement parks, when we get down to it.
Yeah.
When you talk about amusement park history, amusement parks very regularly retheme attractions. For example, Maury's Piers.
Yes.
Maury's Piers has a dark ride called Pirates of Wildwood. And for those listening, it sounds about as ridiculous as it actually is if you ride it.
Well, for us.
Yeah.
It's not for those listening, it's for us.
For us.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be like 5 people actually listening to this. And if there's more than 5 people, then great. Then you get to hear
I've got bad news. There's more than 5 people listening to us.
There's more than 5 people listening.
Yeah.
So, that dark ride has been rethemed somewhere between 15 to 20 times.
Interesting.
It has been rethemed to Planets of the Apes. It's been rethemed to Star Wars.
This reminds me of the Garfield's ride in.
Yeah, it's the exact same thing.
Kennywood.
Kennywood's Old Mill has been rethemed at least 20 times.
Yeah.
Retheming attractions is not a new thing. It's something that happens on a regular basis. So when I look at the Tower of Terror, and I look at the fact that it's being changed over to a Guardians of the Galaxy layover, using the air quotes, a lot of people are very upset about that. A lot of people look at that and say, that's cheap, that's a poor move, etc., etc. I personally, because I don't have the kind of connection that a lot of people do with the Disney theme parks, perhaps, or because there's 2 ways to look at it. One is that I don't have the same relationship with the Disney theme parks that perhaps other people do, where they look at the Disney theme parks as being exceptional.
That's a good point.
Completely different.
Exceptional is a good point.
That they're completely exceptional, completely different than everything else that's in the world. That they do things that are better. I personally
opening a hop slam right now from Bell's. Sorry,
I'm drinking water because I probably need it. Otherwise, I'm going to wake up with a terrible headache tomorrow morning and use headache medication.
Exactly. There we go. Anyway, continue.
I personally do not look at it that way. Mm-hmm. My personal perspective, as far as the Disney parks go, is that they're amusement parks. Mm-hmm. They are themed. I'm not going to argue that they're not themed. I'm not going to argue that there aren't stories that go along with some of those themes or general ideas that comprise them. But to me, because of sort of my, I don't know if say my upbringing, but the way that I perceive their parks, they don't have any sort of exceptionalism to them. They're just other amusement parks. They're amusement parks that have a higher attendance. They're amusement parks that have higher spend per person. Mm-hmm. There are amusement parks that the cost of the attractions is much higher than the average amusement park. But at the end of the day, they are still amusement parks. And so the fact that they're using something that is an amusement park, I won't say trend, but it's something that's been done in amusement parks literally since the dawn of the 20th century. Mm-hmm. You know, these are things that when you talk about what happened in amusement history between the late 1800s to now, which is a period of 120, 130 years, these are things that have been happening consistently. Mm-hmm. Disney is just falling into that groove. They're very much like that. And it's not totally unlike, for instance, when we talk about Autopia at Disneyland. Mm-hmm. Autopia at Disneyland, as we write it now, is not the original Autopia.
Yeah, there's 2 of them.
It's a merger.
Yeah.
It's a combination.
Yes.
It's a change. Admittedly, it's to create a higher quality attraction. The Autopia
and
at Disneyland now is the best
yes.
Autopia that exists anywhere on the face of the planet. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on, Autopia at Disneyland is like twice as long as Disney Worlds or Paris's or Hong Kong.
But do they have the on-ride audio like?
So here's a question.
Yeah.
Do you care more about the on-ride audio than the fact that the ride is twice as long?
I do like the off-road segments of Disneyland. It's really nice. That's pretty good.
I could ride Disneyland's over and over and over. Like, aside from the fact that you end up stopping and waiting 10 minutes to get off the fucking ride. Because it also offers, because in all the credit of Autopia at Disneyland, it also offers an incredible
Shitty
simulation
capacity,
of Los Angeles traffic.
Yeah.
Which I have driven through countless times.
Yeah. So I'm going to respond to that real quick with 2 points. Which I'm trying to remember right now after we've been drinking this whole night. The first one basically being Disney on itself says that they are above the normal theme park.
It's fine.
Or above their normal amusement park.
Yeah, absolutely. They do.
And yeah, and you know what? I think they're totally worth saying that to a certain aspect. I don't agree with it for things like Disney's Hollywood Studios or Animal Kingdom.
Right.
I mean, like, I love Animal Kingdom.
I love Animal Kingdom, but
it's different than like Magic Kingdom.
So when we talk about like Disney's Animal Kingdom, right? Disney's Animal Kingdom was
Yes.
like, what, $105 to get into?
Yeah. One day.
Compare that to the Columbus Zoo.
Yes.
Or San Diego Zoo.
Yes.
Columbus Zoo, in case...
Or the Cleveland Zoo.
Or the Cleveland Zoo. Cleveland Zoo is amazing.
Cleveland Zoo's great.
Great zoo. Columbus Zoo has more rides.
We still need to go to Cleveland Zoo and see all that stuff.
Yeah, we went the last year.
Yeah, but we haven't seen all the new exhibits that opened. What happened to the old butterfly thing? I think there's like a 3D ride there now.
That's true. They did change that. We haven't gone to Columbus Zoo together. Have you been since they added the new Africa section?
No.
Oh my god.
We should do Columbus Zoo. Here's what we'll do.
Oh my god, it's so good.
So, Alan, Columbus Zoo, then Who Farted? I'm just saying, they got fall balls, they got a bunch of good stuff, they got good beers, I'm just saying.
Columbus, I know a lot of people out there are like, what's so good about Columbus? Columbus, it's the home of Ohio State University.
Jack fucking Hanna?
Yeah, Jack Hanna is from Columbus Zoo, okay?
Yeah, I mean, what? Just say Jack Hanna and you're like, oh, okay.
Listen, Columbus Zoo has a wood coaster.
Yeah.
Do I need to... It has a wood coaster with single lap bars. Not just any wood... A single lap bar wooden roller coaster. It has flyers. It has a log flume from Hamifa. It was built in El Salvador. Fuck it. How much better can you get than that?
You can.
You can.
So, basically what I'm saying from Disney's perspective is we want to charge more because we have a story, we have this, this whole entire thing.
Right.
So when you're going like, we build this $50 million expansion edition to completely retheme all this other stuff we have in the park, and now we're going to do a Guardians of the Galaxy attraction waiting like 5 years after we acquire Marvel, and we're going to retheme Tower of Terror. It's less of an addiction of the attraction and more of a statement on the current management of the actual company.
So it comes down to this, to me, is like, what are your expectations of the Disney company?
That's a great point, because I think the Disney company asks for and demands more than the normal theme park because they ask for more money. And they ask for more dependency, and they ask for more loyalty even. There's actual things where family friends are going yes, we're going to Disney World again because that's what we've been doing. We've been talking about this, which I'm not saying is which I'm not saying is a correct thing, but that is something they are they are preying upon also is like, the whole entire like buying the Disney Vacation Club because you're buying in the Walt Disney brand and everything's great. Splash Mountain.
It's the greatest secret in Orlando.
Yeah, in the 90s.
So my attitude is like the thing is, to me, it's kind of like discussing like whether or not people are they're being deceived by corporation. Like, okay, for instance,
I don't think they're being deceived by corporation.
So let me talk about, like, we talked about very briefly, very earlier on, before we even started recording the podcast, the purpose of or not purpose, but the process of my wife purchasing...
The porpoise, let's be honest.
My wife and I purchased furniture this past week. Okay?
Yes.
So, the furniture, when we went looking at different places... So we went to Furniture Row. We went to there's a place called Art Van, which is prevalent throughout Michigan. I'm not sure if it's in Ohio or not.
No.
But it may be, in other places in the Great Plains. There may be other art vans. Or it may just be a Michigan thing because it has a very Dutch name. We went to other places. Pretty much everything that we went to, and subsequently after searching Google, we discovered that we were not unique in this sense, sold Ashley Furniture. Mm-hmm. Okay? Ashley Furniture is very popular. Mm-hmm. Or we're not very prevalent, too. It's very prevalent. And the fact is, everybody sells Ashley Furniture, and they may not sell it by the same exact name, but if you go to one place, and you go to another place, you go to another place, you may see the same exact furniture sold at different prices in different places. Mm-hmm. Okay? Is that deceptive on the part of Ashley Furniture? I don't know that it necessarily is. Certainly Ashley Furniture is being sold to the individuals who are selling you the Ashley Furniture as a middleman at something like an 80% upcharge. Mm-hmm. I understand that aspect, and I understand that they have to pay for warehousing and things that go along with it. In this case, when we talk about Disney, is Disney worth $105 a day? For me personally, no.
Yeah, well,
and it hasn't been for a long time.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that if it's personally worth $105 to you versus other theme parks, then I welcome you to go to Disney World. Mm-hmm. I would say, though, that for you personally, it may be worth taking a second look at what you have locally. Like, for instance, our good friend Lane, Parkscope Lane. He lives near Six Flags Over Georgia. Six Flags Over Georgia.
And Carowinds. And he lives over by Lake Winnie, which he went to this year because on my prompting, and Dollywood. Mm-hmm. Next year, Six Flags Over Georgia opens Justice League. Justice League in some ways is kind of like the poor man's Spider-Man. Yes. Because many things that Spider-Man does, it doesn't do them quite as well as Spider-Man does, but it also has guns. So it has an interactive element, and it's actually a very good ride. Opposed to Dark Castle.
As opposed to Dark Castle.
Which is...
Fundamentally...
I love Dark Castle,
Dark Castle is so bad, but it's great.
I love Dark Castle because it's Spider-Man I could ride near me.
I say this as a person who has ridden Speed of Magic at Ferrari World, which is hideous. Also great. If you... I know most people here have never ridden Speed of Magic, and will probably never ride Speed of Magic. And Speed of Magic is a bad ride. But Speed of Magic has things about it that are so good. Like, when you sit there and you go through certain scenes where they have the projections, and you can see how there's streaks on the fucking wall. On the wall where they did the painting. Like, they paint the screens. But because they're basically using poor Pakistani labor that's borderline slave labor.
Sorry, I'm
and there's streaks all the way down the wall that they project against.
Yeah.
They didn't have enough money to actually finish the sequences between the screens to the next screen, so you just have these painted trees. I'm not saying it's good, but you know what? It's fun because it's different.
Yeah.
But the point that I'm trying to make it here is that, like, Six Flags Over Georgia, you can buy a gold pass at Six Flags Over Georgia for like $75 or $80.
Yeah.
And that gives you parking and entry to every Six Flags park in North America. Mm-hmm. They no longer have any parks in Europe, so I guess you can't really discuss that. But they have.
No, you gonna do.
But you can go to La Ronde, which is horrible. It's actually absolutely atrocious. Yeah. And you can go to Six Flags Mexico, which costs like $17 to get into, but actually doesn't suck. So you can get a gold pass for this park for like maybe $79, $80, probably even less than that. And you can ride Monster Mansion, which is great. Monster Mansion is legitimately
on that
great.
ride. I want to go on that.
And you can ride Justice League next year, which is also the one that I rode in Chicago, which is apparently a lesser version of what's going into Georgia. They're making slight changes to it.
Yeah.
It's really great. Or maybe not really great, but at least it's like a 7 out of 10 if you're a theme park fan. Like if you're like if you're like a 10 out of 10 is Pirates of the Caribbean, like it's like a 7 out of 10 or 6 out of 10. But the point is, it's still there, and it's a relatively low cost, and for $70 you can get parking and entry,
not on the West Coast,
and not on the West Coast, and you can ride the coasters. You have Batman the Ride. You have Mindbender, which is an awesome Schwarzkopf roller coaster. You have Georgia Scorcher, which is the best stand-up currently in existence. You have Great American Scream Machine, which is a great John Allen wooden roller coaster. You have Georgia Cyclone, which is a decent wooden roller coaster GCI did topper track on. You have Superman Ultimate Escape. Do they have that there?
I'm not sure.
They have Superman something. It's a B&M flyer coaster. It's the exact copy of what's at Great America and Great Adventure.
Sounds about right.
Ninja, which has much less painful restraints. You have all of these rides. You have great flat rides. You have, even if it sucks, if you go there and you're like, it's $15 for a slice of pizza, and the line for insert roller coaster here is 30 minutes, you can go there and leave.
Yeah,
because you paid $70 for a season pass,
as opposed to like
$105 to get into one theme park for one day.
Yeah. So what I'm saying from Disneyland is more of a, hey, we throw so much money at this theme park, and like we throw so much in terms of entertainment and just design, and like this is why we're the best. And for me, when it comes down to is saying we, not necessarily anyone else. But
so you're looking at it like you're a part of that.
No.
Okay.
No, not even that. What I'm saying is, like, they're saying, we deserve this.
Right. Like, we deserve the $105 a day.
Yeah,
plus
exactly. Exactly.
Right.
And then to, like, pivot a little bit and go, like, well, I mean, besides this. And that's my problem. Like, there's another issue I completely escaped my mind that you mentioned.
So here's the thing that I would say with Disney. Like, yeah. I'm actually going to defend Disney.
Okay, cool.
Believe it or not, because I have no issue with Disney. I've never gone to Disney and had a shitty time.
I really don't believe anyone's gone to Walt Disney World or Disneyland and had a bad time.
Like, honestly, if you go to Disney World and you have a bad time, or Disneyland and you have a bad time, like, stop going. Like, it's not tough.
Or
like, it's not difficult.
Something's happened. Like, they're pretty good at that. I mean,
like, if you go to Disney World and you have a bad time, like, you can go to Universal, you can go to SeaWorld, you can go to Busch Gardens, you can go to Legoland, you can go to Fun Spot. Like, you have no shortage.
Yeah.
If you live in Southern California, like, you're even in a better situation. You have SeaWorld San Diego, you have Legoland, you have Belmont Park, you have
Knott's.
You have Knott's, which is extremely close.
Universal Studios Hollywood.
And
Magic Mountain.
Pacific Park, Magic Mountain. You have Scandia Family Fun Center. You have Castle Park. You have Adventure City, which is literally down the street from Knott's Berry Farm. If you have been to Knott's Berry Farm and you have not been to Adventure City, like, what are you doing? Like, they have this shuttle coaster from Gerstlauer, which is completely unique from the United States. It's there. It exists. Just go ride it. It costs literally... Actually, you have a discount to go there with your first drop.
There we go.
With your European Coaster Club.
With the first drop.
It's like $13 for full day's admission into Adventure City.
I'm literally rolling this book and I can murder someone with it.
You can beat someone to death with the first drop number 100.
So, I've texted people about this book, how good the European Coaster Club book is. So something yeah. Yeah, enjoy the restroom, Alan.
I will.
Yeah, I enjoyed it earlier. So I'm going to talk real quick about the European Coaster Club book. So the front page, all steel. It's about like 180 pages. Like, this is like amazing stuff. Like, this is unreal. I cannot. Like, this is going to be like a good, like, hey, I can't sleep for a few nights, so I need to go read some stuff kind of stuff. And this is like days and days worth of material of just small amusement parks, giant BMM coasters, small steel coasters. Then you flip the other side of the book, and it's wooden coasters. So like again, like just opening from like right to left, steel, flip the book, flip it left to right, then wooden on the other side. So then you get all the wooden coasters of Europe, and it's absolutely fantastic. And this is 200 pages, and this is something I would pay $40 for, but I bought 6 of these for $45 from the European Coaster Club. So, I mean, I hate to be that guy, like, selling it, but hey, I mean, listen to this. It's pretty great. It looks fantastic. I cannot recommend this anymore, and I have not. So yeah, I mean, I'd highly recommend it. I think you can get it at, let me make sure what website you can get it at. It's coasterclub.org. Please go to coasterclub.org. Throw them some pennies. I believe it's $48 right now. American. You can pay with PayPal, and you get the idea. Anyway, so for
I feel immensely
Alan,
better.
You feel better, Alan. I'm happy about that.
Yes.
So basically, what I'm saying with Disney is that, like, I understand, like, there's better parts, but what I'm saying is, like, Disney holds themselves to a higher standard,
right?
Which is why I feel like when, you know, people come so my issue is when, like, people are, like, going, like, well, Potter's a fad, or that bullshit, you know, that whole entire thing, and they kind of come and they're like, oh yeah, well, I mean, come on, you know, so like, I mean, so when you're building a Guardians of the Galaxy attraction superimposed on a drop tower built around the superimposed. It is superimposed.
Yeah, absolutely.
On.
I'm not arguing that at all.
Yeah, superimposed on the Twilight Zone. It's kind of weird as opposed to being like a new attraction or something like that. Which, I mean, like, and one of the things I heard was, hey, this is a kickstart to the Marvel attraction
in that area, which will eventually.
I'm gonna restate that again because I need to
say that.
No, the Marvel attractions in that area,
right? Which will all be coming soon.
It's like a kickstart, and I'm like, that's a really fucking sad kickstart.
So here's what I'd say to you, like,
okay,
is this more about you as your perception of Disney, or is it about actually like what Disney actually is?
That's a great question. I think it is what actually Disney is. Because I feel like Disney is selling themselves.
Disney sells themselves as that. No, I'm not arguing that Disney doesn't sell themselves as something superior, because obviously they price themselves at a certain level.
But they also advertise themselves as that. Okay.
I mean, Disney clearly models themselves as some sort of cultural mecca, which if you don't take your kids to Disney World, you're like an awful parent.
Yeah, no, really.
You're like a bad person.
Coworkers are talking about that. Like that's an actual thing. Yeah.
So my friends, I was talking about David and Cheryl. Yeah. Cheryl wants to take her kids to Disney World.
Well,
David does not. David thinks it's bad.
I want to go to Disney World right now. I mean,
I would happily go to Disney World, but the thing is like, what it comes down to is sort of an internalization.
Okay.
And to me, this is no different than discussing, politics, for instance. And that sounds like perhaps
and you're an anarchist, and I'm a bloody liberal.
And I'm not saying that I'm definitely a socio-anarchist.
And I'm a bloody liberal, so we understand where we're at right now.
Look, like if I'm gonna go for the state, obviously I'm gonna go for the socialists and the borderline communists because of who I am. Absolutely, dude. I totally voted for Bernie in the Michigan primaries, and I'm absolutely 100% happy that he won. And as I often retweet, did you see the post that I retweeted earlier today? With somebody had like a link to Donald Trump's post, and if you looked at like the first letter in each thing,
yes, I did.
Bernie would have won.
What? Was that real?
That was real.
No. Okay, I'm texting DJ right now. That was real.
Look. I know a lot of people out there like Bernie wouldn't have won because basically they're talking about like McGovern in '72 as like some sort of reference point.
I don't necessarily believe Bernie would have won.
Maybe he wouldn't have, but at least he would have pushed it over to the left.
Yeah, which is a great point.
Which is a great point, but to the greater point, like when we talk about like what we internalize Disney as. Mm-hmm. For me as an individual that got into theme parks as a roller coaster enthusiast, and everybody comes to the theme park fandom as a different way.
Yeah,
a lot of the people that are on Disney Twitter, quote unquote, or even Universal Twitter, as I've kind of pointed out,
just whatever Twitter,
whatever Twitter, roller coaster Twitter really doesn't exist as far as I've noticed. Maybe it exists, but I've never really interacted with it.
That's a really good point. Yeah,
level.
You kind of come in from the Universal side saying like, "Hey, I like Hulk," or you come from Disney saying like, "Hey, I like Matterhorn or Space Mountain or something."
Or what? Like Disney people really love pirates, and I'm not saying that I don't love pirates. I think Pirates is a great ride.
Yeah,
but when you talk to a Disney person, you say like, what are like the fundamental Disney rides? You talk about Pirates of the Caribbean, and you talk about Haunted Mansion. Like those are the two fundamental Disney rides. Like if you talk about like what is fundamentally like as a Disney fan, what do I hold dear? They usually don't talk about Space Mountain, Big Thunder Mountain, which makes sense because Big Thunder Mountain is essentially not copy, but it's an exploration of the ideas that were placed on the mine train at Six Flags Over Texas, which was the first mine train coaster.
But even then, it's like, but then like Splash Mountain, then you got Knott's.
Yeah, you have Knott's, absolutely.
Which is an experiment on that. Then you have Indiana Jones Adventure. You have those attractions.
I mean, like Mr. Toad's is basically a classic dark ride of the 1950s.
But I would say that Indiana Jones is a modern version of Mr. Toad, and I would say Forbidden Journey is a modern version of Mr. Toad also.
I mean, I wouldn't disagree with that necessarily.
Now here's a crazy thing I'll say.
Which is probably why I also find myself like particularly being like attracted to it on some level because.
Now I'm gonna throw something crazy out too. Is like the only absolute new idea of an attraction is Escape from Gringotts. Now I see your face on this. Basically, being the idea of it matches up with a movie in a way that. You ride the attraction, you are parallel with the movie, and it still ends up like the same with the movie attraction, as opposed to being something like another movie attraction where you're sort of like someone observing, or
like Peter Pan or Snow White, where you basically go through a 2.5-minute version of the movie.
Exactly, or you're someone like the Great Movie Ride, where you're seeing a very specific moment, and you're that point in it. But for Escape from Gringotts, you're like, hey, you're going in the vaults. Oh shit, we need to get out of here, but you're on the sidelines of the whole entire movie. Now, that's a completely different thing I haven't seen yet. Now, I may be wrong, but...
If I thought about it more, I'd probably be able to come up with some sort of example.
Yeah,
I'm
probably.
incredibly messed up.
So who's the so crazy? What's the European version of the studio attraction where it's like it's a studio tour with like a guy driving it? It's like explosions happening everywhere and.
You mean like other than Paris? Like there's Paris, there's Movie Studios Park, which is over in Germany.
No, there's.
Are you talking about Movie World Park in Italy?
Probably.
If you are, Magma 2.1 is actually fantastic. I love honestly. So my wife and I went to Italy this past year, and we went to
What was it again?
There's Movie World Park or Movie Land Park. I can't remember what the specific name is. I'm
typing it up right now. What is it?
Hold on. I'm going to go RCDB because that will definitely help me in this quest to answer your question. Good. Of course, there's 80 amusement parks located in the country of Italy. Mm-hmm. So we went to Mirabilandia, which is a fine park. I actually really like Mirabilandia. I know there's some people that kind of like about it. Fiabilandia, which my wife absolutely loved. Yeah, it's Movieland Park. So there's Movieland Park, which is just up the road from Gardaland on the coast of Lake Garda in northern Italy. And maybe that's what you're talking about. This ride involves these enormous four-wheel drive vehicles. And it's like this weird version of Disney Hollywood Studios. It's a very like low rent version of it, where like instead of what we see as the Tower of Terror, they have an Intamin first generation drop tower, which was purchased from, I don't know if it was Geauga Lake. I don't remember who they purchased it from. No, I do know who they purchased it from. They purchased it from the folks over at Galaxyland in Edmonton. And oh my God, that ride. Magma 2.1. Movieland is the classic bad park. Mm-hmm. Okay? My wife and I both have agreed multiple times that the favorite park that we went to in Italy was Movieland.
Okay.
Because it was so absurd. Mm-hmm. There's a ride, there's a monorail. It has single cars called Back to the Backstage, where the operator of the monorail...
There's no driver in this attraction, by the way.
On this one? No, there should be a driver. There's actually somebody that drives the vehicle.
Nope, no one's driving it.
On this one?
Yeah, watch it real quick. They'll pull it up ahead of time. Yep, no one's there.
He might be over to the right. I don't remember where they got these vehicles from.
Nope, no one's there.
Oh, no, they're looking at the back of it. They got to turn around.
Well, he's on the way back, right?
He's looking at the reverse of it. So Movieland is a really weird park. They have a whole section themed to the Flintstones, except it's not officially themed to the Flintstones.
Okay.
They have the closest thing to officially licensed things that they have are Dukes of Hazzard. Mm-hmm. What is Kit from? What is that television show?
Kit is from... Oh my God, everyone's going to yell at us right now. Kit is from that one show. Kit is done by the person who is John Adams in 1776. It is.
I have a computer in front of me and I'm asking these questions, which is
I'm watching this great video, so you need to deal with that. So
they have a jet boat ride. You actually get in a real Australian jet boat.
Okay.
And they drive you through the stunt show area. Mm-hmm. And they actually have a themed shed that you go into after you do like figure eights in the stunt show area.
Okay.
Which is also used for the John Rambo stunt show. Mm-hmm. And they have like gunshots that go through the shed. And
so what's the
it's
show?
fantastic. Everything about it is good.
Kit is
from Knight Rider.
Knight Rider, fuck yes.
So they have and it actually has
from Knight Rider.
It actually has the Hoff in it.
Yeah.
Hoff is on, like when you get on the Kit Superjet, you actually watch a video of the Hoff
talking
to you in Italian.
In Italian.
Yeah, it's dubbed.
Oh, Jesus.
It's
okay.
This park it's bootleg, and it's obviously like everything is ripped off, but it's so good because it's so different than what you expect. Like it's so different than what you know. Mm-hmm. I think in that way, like for me personally, like I like Disney parks. Like Disney parks are good. Like they've never been bad. Like I've never gone to Disney World or Disneyland and been like, this is horrible.
Yeah, this is terrible. Or like I spent my time or money wrong.
Yeah, no, like I've never like entirely regretted it, but there's like a spiritual fulfillment that comes from going to parks that aren't Disney, where you encounter these weird things.
Like you're just like, what's going on? And you're like, oh my god, no, it's not this. And you're, yeah, it's totally that.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Like there's I'm gonna have to pull his name up here, but he's over in the Greater Ohio Coaster Club. Mm-hmm. And he does a lot of the events for them. And my friend Sean quotes him as saying, like, I like good stuff, but I like novelty more. Like, I'd rather go on something that's new and, like, novel. Mm-hmm. And the way that this kind of came to me was the Beast at Kings Island. For coaster enthusiasts...
The original Beast.
Just the Beast now. Like,
okay,
how it is currently.
The original Beast, yeah.
If you go on the Beast now, if you're a coaster enthusiast, and people have told you for years that the Beast is the most amazing thing in the universe, a lot of coaster enthusiasts go in and they're very disappointed. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because it doesn't have airtime.
It's weird and different, yeah.
It has a lot of like rampy sections. There's like a long section of straight track in a shed.
And you're just
that
like,
goes on forever. Yeah. And if you don't know what's going on with it, Richie Anderson over at Greater Ohio Coaster Club is the person that said this. Mm-hmm. So credit to Richie. I've known Richie for a long time, and there's other quotes that I would mention to him, but they would probably be frowned upon for any podcast. Richie was the guy that said, like, I love good stuff, but I love novelty more. For me, that's exactly how I feel, because when you get to a point like I have, and there's a lot of people that have gone to, like, they go to the Orlando parks, they go to the California parks, they maybe go to a couple regional parks, and overall, like, that's what, like, comprises what they've done.
Yeah.
That's not me. I've gone to over 200 theme parks around the world.
Yeah.
I've seen
the world.
Like, I've gone to Europe, I've gone to the Middle East, I've gone to Singapore, I've gone to both coasts of the United States, I've gone to South America, I've been everywhere. So, you know, I've seen a lot of stuff, and
you've seen shit, man.
I've seen all this. Like I'm a jaded man. So when you bring something new to me, it has to be really interesting. It has to be really different. Something I've never seen before.
Good.
It has to. It honestly never. It doesn't even have to be good.
Okay.
People say like it has to be like good, quote marks.
Gotta get good.
For me, interesting. Mm-hmm. Or different is more is more valuable than good. Okay. I've been on many B&M hypercoasters, but I can't say that I've been on a whole lot of non-looping French-built roller coasters. Socket. I've never been on King. King is a portable roller coaster. It usually runs at a summer fun fair in the south of France. Mm-hmm. And you may see it somewhere else in France, or usually runs at Luxembourg. During the fair season, or you may see it at Tilburg Fair. Okay? Mm-hmm. I've never personally seen King. King is more interesting than me than any other B&M hypercoaster I've ever been on, because I've been on 10, 12, 13 B&M hypercoasters. I know what B&M hypercoasters do. Mm-hmm. I've never been on King. I have no idea what King does. King is different. King is 100 feet tall. It's made by a French company. The only thing I've ever been on by Socket is I've been on the roller coaster that they used to have at Seabreeze in Western New York in Rochester. It's been gone for 15 years. It's in Mexico now. Or actually, it's in Colombia. So if you want to go there, you have to risk getting shot. I've been on that, and I've been on a half-powered roller coaster at Jardin d'Acclimation in Paris. That's it. I've been on 2 Socket roller coasters. So to me, King is a much more interesting roller coaster. It means much more to me to ride King that does to ride Shambhala, for instance, at Port Aventura, or even Fury 325 at Carowinds, because it's something that's so different to me. It's so alien.
A different concept, even.
It's a whole different universe. I know for people that aren't roller coaster enthusiasts, but roller coasters are roller coasters, right? Like, they have gravity and they go down track.
But there's design to how those tracks roll.
Absolutely, but for people that aren't roller coaster enthusiasts, like, it doesn't really matter. Like, for people that are Disney enthusiasts, like, the majority of them are really interested in dark rides and primarily Disney dark rides. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
So when we talk about, like, for instance, motion gate parks in Dubai, like, they, like, sit there and they're like, okay, how does Ghostbusters look versus Pirates of the Caribbean? Mm-hmm. Is that the right comparison to make?
No, it's not.
You know, and that's the way I look at it. Like, I'm probably going to ride Ghostbusters this year. Like, the odds, everything says that I'm going to ride Ghostbusters this year.
Which is better than my odds in riding Ghostbusters this year.
They are admittedly better than your odds of riding Ghostbusters. But the point is, like, if I ride it and I think it sucks, that's fine. But to me, the odds that I ride it and I think it's different, and it's something that I haven't been on before, and by virtue of being different, it's interesting, are good. I would rather ride something that's different. So when we go back to the Tower of Terror, so let's go all the way back to California.
If I want to go back to that, I would say it's not different.
It is. It's the same ride, like, physically, like, it's the same thing. It does the same thing.
Okay.
But the visuals, the theming that goes into it is going to be different.
But it's not different.
Structurally, it's not that different. That's true. I'm not going to disagree with that. But in some ways, it's like the same thing of looking at, like, a Vekoma MK900 mine train that's located in China versus one that's located at Mirabilandia. At, I'm trying to think of Walibi, Belgium, I think is where they have one of those. So it's like a 3-lift mine train that they have at Walibi, Belgium, which I've been on. It's a great ride. Great ride.
Alan,
great ride.
Alan,
yeah.
There's very few things I'll ever challenge you on, man. That's one of the few things I'll never challenge you on.
Right. So
yeah.
Like, they're two very, very similar things. They may be exactly similar. The thing about these drop towers, you can alter the sequence of the drops, which can change things. There are going to be significant differences in the visuals and the theming of the ride. I understand from people that sit there and say, like, structurally it's the same thing, because it is. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to argue that it's not the same thing, because it is.
And I would also argue that that's not the best version of that same thing. It's not the best version.
The best version is in Orlando.
Clearly, yes.
Clearly. Like, there's no question. Like, everybody agrees.
Yeah.
It's like Orlando, Tokyo,
and then everything else is like a mile away.
Then, like, throw a coin in the air, and whatever comes up, you're like, okay, it's like
Paris or
whatever, and that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, like, what they're doing to that ride doesn't really bother me, because I understand that Disney says, like, we're different, and we want you to identify that we're different. I just don't do that.
Okay.
I just don't buy into it. If you buy into it and you say that it's different and it's really different to you, then that's fine. There's a sort of relativism that I'm willing to accept on that. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, I'm not willing to be objectivist in this sense. Mm-hmm. If you go on it and you're a relativist and you say, like, it's not really that different than what it used to be, it doesn't really do anything for me, I don't like it, that's fine. From my personal perspective, the fact that they continued to run it while it was under construction, I'm fine with.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, you had a ride that was available for people to go on versus a ride that wasn't available to go on.
Okay.
So for me personally, as an individual that goes to amusement parks for rides, I'd rather go on the ride rather than it not be available to me, because aesthetically, not necessarily structurally, but aesthetically. Outside aesthetically, it's something that is not ready or not prepared for show in the way that
not
that
show
Disney
ready.
Not show ready. Sure. We'll go with that term. I mean, like, the thing is, a lot of these terms are really very Disney specific. Like, when we talk about what's show ready,
That's a great point.
we really don't have these discussions about
something that they've defined themselves.
They've defined themselves, and again, it's not that it's bad that they've done that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's not that it's a terrible thing that Disney has made these things exist.
Yep.
But at the same time, or nor do we necessarily have to define Disney by these things that they've created for themselves. Mm-hmm. Because we can think outside the box. We can think of it more holistically.
Dirk Gently.
Dirk Gently.
As we keep going back to, so...
You don't necessarily have to think about Disney World as this sort of Disney-centric viewpoint. If you wish to think about Disney... Nobody needs to. If you choose to do that, that's fine. If you choose not to, that's fine too. My attitude is I don't choose to, and so for me, it's not really an issue. It's not like a moral quandary. Mm-hmm. By that same token, what I would say is that for me personally, I will probably end up in Southern California this year. Yeah. Probably in May. Mm-hmm. Will I go to Disney? No.
Okay.
Because what they will be offering to me come May of this year does not justify me outlaying the money. Will I go to Universal? Yes. Because the addition since I was there in 2013 between Simpsons Land and Harry Potter, and the fact that there's a coaster credit. Why lie? Nerd. Why lie? I need a coaster credit.
Nerd.
Because those things are there. Will I spend the money? Absolutely. You know what else I'm going to spend money on? Well,
great food.
I've already purchased a Six Flags.
What about brewery? The brewery.
So I'm going to go to Universal at 8 a.m. because I'm going to buy my ticket online.
Good.
For however long I need to. Cause I'll probably
That's for you, John Green and John Fu. There you go.
I'll probably do the studio tour. Because I love the studio tour. It's one of my favorite rides on planet Earth.
Again, I want to go to Universal Studios Hollywood, but whenever I go to like California, people are like, "Oh, you don't want to go there." I'm like, "No, I want to fucking go there." Like, this is something I want to do. No, you don't want to go there. I'm like, and then I'm like, okay, fine, whatever.
So Joe, the last time I was there, I mean, this is 2013. It's before Harry Potter opened, before the full Simpsons line had opened, so it was just the Simpsons ride. Yeah, I rode everything of ostensibly of value in an hour and 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And then I went to SeaWorld that same day.
Yeah.
And then I went to Belmont Park, which is down the street, and I rode the wood coaster. And then I drove back to Anaheim because I was staying at the Fairfield Inn.
Yep. My friends don't understand that. I get that.
That's fine. That's fine. You just gotta educate them as to what the situation is.
We need to hang out with Jeff, is what I'm saying.
We probably do. But anyway, I'm going to go to Universal. I'm going to go to Six Flags Magic Mountain. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go to Knott's. Mm-hmm. I'm probably going to go to Scandia. Definitely going to go to Castle. Definitely going to go to Adventure City. Mm-hmm. So you're talking about, this is going to be in 2 days. I'm going to hit all this stuff. You're talking about 6 parks in 2 days. Am I going to go to Disney? Yeah. Nah.
Probably not.
No. I have no need. What's there? What's new?
Good point. Oh, it got Maxi Pass now. Max Pass.
Is it worth paying $110 plus $10 more to get
Of course not.
Absolutely not. But
that's the Paul Pressler motto of doesn't matter if you add new attractions, you just need to add new capacity.
This is all part, as I understand it, of a process that the Disney Corporation was looking at in terms of generally improving people's enjoyment of the Disney parks. And what basically was removed was the general enjoyment part. And what was taken from it was the let's get cash.
Yep.
And that's the way I understand it from people that have talked to me. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to say who they were. Doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. But that's what I understand. Some of it I'm not upset about. I actually don't hate Maxi Pass. If I had never been to Disneyland before, if I was the kind of person that had not gone previous times and been on everything, be a different story. I'm not that guy. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing with Disney, like with Disney World discussing these, what is it? not an extra magic hour event. What is this thing called where you go for 3 hours after hours for 150?
It's like yeah, I know what you're talking about.
It's basically for people that are out there. So coaster enthusiasts call these things called exclusive ride time. That's basically what this is. ERT. Okay, it's basically you're paying $150 for ERT plus cookies. Okay, and if you're fine with that, if you're fine with paying $150 for 3 hours ERT and cookies, then go crazy. To me, I'm not really upset about it because it doesn't really it's not really a detriment to my personal enjoyment of going to Disney World if I were to go. But at the same token, the last time I went for a Disney World trip, like a Disney World Century trip, was 2011. I have only been to Magic Kingdom in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Do I care? No. Is there anything for me that I've missed? New Test Track? New Frozen?
Yeah.
I mean, you tell me. Like, is it really that much that I deserve to have spent this substantial amount of money? Not in my mind.
Yeah. Think about that. I mean, yeah.
Whereas you go to Cedar Point. Cedar Point got Valraven this year. Last year it got Rougarou. The year before that.
Rougarou.
Year before Rougarou, it got Gatekeeper.
Yeah.
So you sit there and think about, like, as far as, like, I as a coaster person go, what Cedar Point got versus what Disney got. Or any other amusement park in the region. I stepped into Kings Island last year. I got my one ride in on Banshee for the year because screw it. It was free.
Banshee's great.
Banshee's great. I stopped in at Geauga Lake just to walk through. I went to Canada's Wonderland. I rode Behemoth. I rode Leviathan, and I rode something else. Lord knows what it was. It was a long time ago. I rode Wild Beast, which is terrible. But I rode it because it was free.
Free.
I rode the Dunk Ride. It was free. I mean, it's like... there's a difference between the cost benefit analysis of that versus the cost benefit analysis of my drinking this now.
Yeah, you're drinking it now.
Oh, it's a good thing I'm obese.
Right?
Jesus. Or overweight, according to my BMI scale.
Thank you.
What else should we talk about aside from Disney?
Well, we've been talking for 2 hours now, so excuse me. Oh.
That's fine. I'm impressed
Christ.
that I have not ripped a massive fart at this stage.
I just did that. Sorry. My apologies, everyone. So
should we talk, like, what would be a good thing? We could talk very briefly about just, like, general theme park fandom, maybe, perhaps.
Okay. Start
We can
talking.
probably cut. We can cut so much out of this. It's fantastic.
Just talk a little bit about it.
So you've been so you got into. How did you get into amusement park and theme park fandom?
Through Disney mostly. Disney and Cedar Point.
Like,
I mean,
what was
because-
the time frame?
So
This? I'm just trying to figure out.
no, that's completely fine. So Cedar Point, Disney, roughly same time, but then we moved to Fort Myers, Florida, more Disney. But then I moved back to Cleveland after that. And it was sort of one of those weird things where, like, we're trying to figure out stuff and, like, I don't know the fuck's going on. And all of a sudden, like Disney's like, hey, we're going to do the 125th anniversary of Cleveland opening. And I'm like, that's kind of fucking weird and stupid. And, like, Little Mermaid with Cleveland, Ohio? Sure. So I thought it was
Whatever,
stupid.
right? You just go with it.
So for a while we didn't pay attention to Disney, and then family friends of ours basically were bugging us to go, and then it was 98, 99 was when we started going every 2 years or so, give or take.
So, like, okay, so that's how you got involved with it. Did you?
Yeah. And then we also got involved with the whole entire Hidden Mickey side, the Imagineering side. When's Test Track opening? Because that's really what we were going. And it's like,
Did my wife tell you about the story about how she was working that food stand?
No.
Over by Test
No,
Track?
she never did.
So my wife was doing. So my wife, like, unsurprisingly, given like the amount of insane stuff that I talk about theme parks,
Yes.
she worked at Epcot during her college program, and she had a food stand over by Mission Space and Test Track, and
No, she had it by Horizons and Test Track.
Horizons and Test Track, yes.
At that point.
And people would be like, "Oh, when's that going to open?" She's like, "It's going to be soon. It's going to be great." Like, I think never happened. Obviously, there were massive delays involved.
That was probably in like 97, probably.
So my wife grew up like as a Cedar Point person, like, because that was what was available to her living in Lansing, East Lansing, Michigan.
And that's how you guys met too.
Yeah, that's how we met. And then she worked for Disney, and she was like a Disney / Cedar Point person, which is not entirely unique. I grew up all over the place. But the majority of the growing up happened in the New England area. And my home park, these are terms that only coaster enthusiasts use. What's your home park? Well,
home park.
Yeah, your home park is the
What's
park.
your home park?
My home park now is Cedar Point. I claim that over Michigan's Adventure, in spite of the fact that Michigan's Adventure is closer.
Which is fair point. We're fair.
No, slight diss to Michigan's Adventure, but
No.
maximum diss to Michigan's
Yeah.
So she grew up with that. I grew up with Riverside Park, which is now Six Flags New England. And pretty much really that. Like, I never really went to Lake Componce in the 90s. I never went to Quasi. I never went to Rocky Point in Rhode Island before it closed. I never went to Great Adventure on a regular basis, or Action Park, or Maury's Piers. I saw some of that stuff, but I never really like attended it. I went to Water Country, which is a large water park up in the Vermont, New Hampshire area. It's close to the border of New Hampshire and Massachusetts. Anyways, the way I got into it was honestly watching Discovery Channel shows.
Yeah, as we all did.
Some people, like, everybody, like some people watched him and were like, yeah, theme parks. Like, this was 96, and I saw people, like, basically talking about Texas Giant and stuff. And I was like, this is what I want to do. Like, I always looked at...
I have to go there.
I'd always looked at, like, the Guinness Book of World Records to see pictures of the Magnum XL 200 and Moonsault Scrambles mentioned in there, which is no longer in existence, but there were, all those Fujiyama, all these huge rides, Desperado. And for me, it was like...
No longer running, I think.
Desperado's still running.
Still is?
Yeah, I rode it this year. Or last year.
Oh, fuck.
Like on New Year's Day.
Yeah, last year, New Year's Day, so a year ago.
Yeah, so like a little over a year. It was actually running really well, actually.
Really?
Yeah, Desperado, it was... I rode it in 2008 and it was garbage. And I rode it this past year and I was like, this is great.
Okay.
This is fantastic.
You know what? I cannot challenge you on that point.
Desperado was running really well. So I've been on every Aero hyper except for Titan at Space World. So, like, I saw this stuff. I was like, Texas Giant and this coaster and that coaster. I was like, man, this is totally what I want to be about. And I remember I went to Riverside with my friend John, who's on Twitter, but I'm not going to mention his name. No district.
Good.
It's funny. We actually have a mutual friend. K-Thor Jensen is our mutual friend.
We'll talk about it later.
But he was my best friend in like middle school, like through elementary school through high school, and now he's friends with K-Thor Jensen, and I'm friends with K-Thor Jensen. But we don't talk to each other.
Okay.
I have not talked since high school graduation, which is like 15, 16 years ago.
Sure. Yeah, let's go with that.
So anyway, let's go with that. So I was like, fucking roller coasters are awesome. So I went to Riverside in 96. And I rode everything that was at Riverside, now Six Flags New England. I rode the Black Widow, which is an Aero shuttle loop. I rode Riverside Cyclone in its original Morgan train form. Not original, but close enough to it. And I was like, this is what it's about. My first amusement park trip that I ever did, I personally booked in 8th grade.
I'm doing the whole entire keep talking because I have to go pee thing. So go for it.
So I booked this in 8th grade. I went to Dorney, Hershey, Kennywood, Kings Island, and Cedar Point. I actually did not know that like coaster counting existed yet. This is 99. Actually, no, it's 97. 97 is when I got and did that. So everyone has like a different way that they came to like the theme park fandom, and the way that I really personally associate more with most people is when they came to it from outside the Disney realm. The Disney realm, it's not that it's necessarily bad, it's just that I don't understand it. I'm not a brand guy. Disney people are brand guys. The people that got involved into Disney very early on, back all the way into the 1970s, are brand people. They believe in the idea of Disney as a brand. Disney as this sort of arbiter of what the past was. Of the truth of sort of American history. And I'm just not that guy. I'm not that guy. I never was. I try to look at things as they actually are. And the history of amusement parks is actually somewhat racist. There's a lot of really serious issues that come up with amusement parks. When we talk about the history of amusement parks, we talk about segregation. Disneyland. Mm-hmm. Actually, Walt Disney paid checks to Marge Schott's dad, who ran Coney Island, Cincinnati, and segregated Coney Island, Cincinnati, because he wanted to understand how to run an amusement park. Mm-hmm. This is not untrue. Like, the check is sitting there on the wall at Coney Island, Cincinnati today, which is still owned by Kiko Amusements, or Kiko, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
This is the way it is. So I try to look at it from a very holistic sense, and also from a sense of personal responsibility and an understanding of like where my place is in the social pantheon, if you will. Mm-hmm. Go ahead. Sorry. I've been talking for a while while you're gone.
LSP.
No,
So,
absolutely. We've been talking forever at this stage.
Yeah.
This is going to be an incredible thing to edit.
So,
luck.
Well, no, I don't edit any... Sorry. I don't edit anything. I don't edit anything. So we're actually at 2 hours right now.
Race, Riots, and Roller Coasters is a great book for anybody that has not looked at it. It was written by a professor over at SNUY Rochester.
Mm-hmm. Race, Riots, and Roller Coasters. Okay.
And it's a history of outdoor amusements and recreation. Mm-hmm. You can buy it on Amazon. It's like $25. There's no real saving. It's probably something that this individual sells to their students when she's an instructor. Mm-hmm. And it's not, I will admit, it's not entirely correct. There are some issues in terms of the historical information that is recorded.
Victoria W. Wolcott.
Yeah, but there's a lot of general information about this. As far as I understand, this book was actually inspired by watching a PBS documentary about Crystal Beach, New York.
Sure, why not?
Crystal Beach, for those that don't know, Crystal Beach was an amusement park that was located actually in Ontario. It was sort of the Buffalo home park. If you were an individual that lived in Buffalo, you went to Crystal Beach because that was the closest amusement park to you. Mm-hmm. And this was in a period prior to requiring passports to enter a foreign nation because it was in Canada.
Yeah.
It's very similar.
And before they had alpine coasters.
Before they, yeah, due to our long driving last year. I don't know how I did that. That was incredibly stupid.
That was a great time.
That was a great time. We drove.
We drove
an astonishing amount.
Yes.
We drove clear to Cornell, then turned around.
Yes.
And went all the way back to Niagara Falls, and we were there until midnight.
Yes.
I think we closed up. Yes. We missed a dark ride.
Yes, we did.
I'm so sorry we did that. I had to go back a month later and go on it.
We need to go. We just need to go. We're gonna go and we're gonna pick up Pascal, and we're just gonna go to Canada.
That's fine. I'm down.
Yeah.
Anytime. So Crystal Beach was located outside of Buffalo, basically in Lake Erie. It's part of Ontario. I think it's called. It's not Grand Island necessarily, but you would basically take a ferry boat over there. And this person that wrote Race, Riots, and Roller Coasters watched a PBS documentary about the closing of Crystal Beach. was upset by the fact.
Yeah, Victoria Wolcott.
Yeah, Victoria did not, or Dr. Wilcox probably, because I think she's a PhD.
It's not on
I'm not
the
100%
page.
sure, but she's...
You know what?
I know she's an instructor at UNC Rochester. I've looked it up. She's actually has a different last name.
I'm just seeing what's on Google right now, so
fine.
no offense to her.
Yeah, I did actually purchase the book. So hopefully she got a little money from me.
Great. It just says book by Victoria W. Wolcott. So if it said doctor, I would say doctor.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it just says Victoria.
So she saw this documentary, like a 1 hour documentary about the closing of Crystal Beach, and was like, that's BS, because it doesn't really discuss anything about the segregation, because Crystal Beach was a segregated amusement park until the 1960s.
That's fantastic. That's really interesting. Like, not fantastic, but
it's not fantastic, but it's just a reality.
It's something very interesting to hear about, which is like different than like the normal like whole entire Walt sat on a bench and he had like popcorn, that kind of thing.
Well, you know the story about Walt Disney or about Disneyland, right? About how until 1964, when the Civil Rights Act went into play, the only black people that were allowed on stage were Aunt Jemima and Uncle Ben.
Yep.
It's kind of fucked up. It's not kind of a fucked up thing. It's a really fucked up thing. There's no other way to describe it.
But on the other side, like when they were like kicking Aunt Jemima off, like she was like really disappointed. Like she was like, hey, I had a role and like I really did this really well.
I don't.
Which on the other hand, like I'm not saying like I'm not saying like what she had an issue with was not wrong, but like also like. Yeah, that was kind of fucked up. How everything was.
To have people that are those people.
All that stuff was
characters.
paved. All that stuff is really paved over by the Disney company.
Absolutely,
completely.
It's not discussed. We don't talk about any of that.
Which is, I think, a bigger issue completely with culture.
I think that the Disney people in general. I mean, this is my personal belief. Mm-hmm. Disney people in general kind of lean closer towards like the neoliberal side of things.
Yes, I can agree with that.
I am definitely like there's no question about like I'm a radical. Like I'm generally an anarchist. I believe in absolute like racial equality. Like there's no question about it. I believe that we need to include more. It's not just like include more people. Like the thing about like our society is that our society purposely excludes people by and large. Excludes. Like it's it's not like it's like a surprise. It's by design.
Yes.
Right? Like we exclude African Americans that live in the greater Detroit area by design. Like it's not like it's like some surprise. Like surprise, like black people don't get like the same amount of opportunities.
Oh
like,
no, who would have thought? Oh my god,
like,
what's going on?
I can't believe like
no way.
Like South Chicago, like people in South Chicago don't get the same
What are you
opportunities.
talking about?
Yeah, it's
almost like the 3/5 compromise. It's like some sort of thing that exists. Who would have thought?
Yeah, who would have thought? So I'm extremely radical in this sense. And I understand that not a lot of people are going to be as radical as I am, as how these things go. As
we are. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm more radical than you are. Come on.
Yeah, that's true. Good point. Good point. I'm a bleeding heart liberal. You're the radical. And we're gonna make a great CBS sitcom from 2018.
8:30 p.m. on CBS. Look at these.
It's Alan and Joe. One comes home with some craft beer. The other one's like, I'm gonna grill some steaks.
I drink Pabst Blue Ribbon and I throw rocks through windows. It's fucking great. Yeah.
He brings a girl home and he's like, I don't know what's going on with this one. So 8 p.m. CBS
so
every Wednesday.
It's one of these things that that generally speaking, theme park fans don't discuss, and I think part of this comes back to, when we talk about like the theme park fandom, especially Disney fandom, like. For instance, Magic Mountain. Magic Mountain is like, to me, like Magic Mountain is like the perfect example. Like Magic Mountain has gang violence. Magic Mountain is a dangerous place to go. People are
on a ceiling.
People are terrified to go to Magic Mountain.
Poop on a ceiling.
I'm not saying Magic Mountain is good. Okay, like Magic Mountain has decaying buildings in full view of the guests. Things are literally falling apart in front of you when you go there, especially when you go to Samurai Summit. You can't avoid it. But are you in danger by going to Six Flags Magic Mountain?
No.
No.
No, you're not.
You've never been. No one has ever been in danger.
Well, I've been to Six Flags Magic Mountain. I've never been in danger there. I mean, like, the food wasn't great. That may be the worst thing I've been in danger of.
I ate the pizza place that's been closed for like 10 years at Samurai Summit. And it was okay.
I was more in danger on the highway going to Six Flags Magic Mountain than, like, being in Six Flags Magic Mountain.
I was in a huge amount of traffic. This funny story. So the last time I went to Magic Mountain was with my wife and I. This was our plan for the day. We went to early entry at Disneyland. We got there at 7 a.m. We were from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. We rode everything in Fantasyland. We rode Big Thunder Mountain. We rode Haunted Mansion. We rode something else. I don't remember what else we rode. Pirates or something like that, yeah.
Yeah, probably Pirates or, I don't know, It's a Small World or...
Something like that.
Yeah.
We exited.
A fantastic ride.
Got in our car.
An A-plus thematic attraction.
We drove to...
Maybe one of the best, actually. Maybe one of the absolute best. Not just in, like, overall, but maybe even culturally.
Culturally, yeah. Very important. Like, important to our civilization. Like, our very well-being as people in America.
Yes.
We got in our car at the Fairfield Inn in Anaheim. Right across the street, basically. Drove to Valencia to Magic Mountain. We ended up getting there late because there's traffic. Surprise.
Of course. What a surprise in Los Angeles.
It was 100. And I think it was 108. I don't want to say it was 118.
Oh my god, I think I've heard this before, yeah.
I probably have told you this. It was 108. We rode every roller coaster at Magic Mountain. I honestly cannot tell you that I remember the mine train at Magic Mountain. I've been on it before.
What about X?
I rode X. Yeah.
X is great.
X is good.
X is great. I'm gonna put that one there and say X is great.
When we were coming off the Immelman, it's bouncing like crazy.
Okay, so we didn't have the bouncing.
I'm riding on the outside. I gave my wife the inside because I knew it was gonna be less rough. And I was screaming, "This is so shitty, but it's so good."
No, I never had any issue on X like that. Although I did do X2.
I rode X. I only rode X2. I never rode X.
I rode X2. But
I saw X physically, but it was not open at that time. It was still in a
for me, it was never bumpy.
It was like, and the whole time I'm just like, I'm shaking in the seat.
I'm like, this is great.
I'm flipping over slowly.
This is an arrow. Right, this is an arrow. Blah, 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 blah. I'm looking down as I'm falling. Blah, 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 blah.
I just remember like yelling at my wife, like, this is so horrible. It's so good.
You know what? What I remember as the ideal X experience is better than probably what it was. But even then, man.
We rode every roller coaster in this park. There was at that time there were 18 roller coasters. We rode every single one of them.
Suck it, Cedar Point.
We got in a car. We drove over to the Wendy's in Valencia, just down the street.
Got
lunch or dinner, whatever you want to call it.
Not the In-N-Out.
Not the In-N-Out. No, we went to Wendy's. Actually,
did you know that Eater said Wendy's has the best chicken nuggets? And I don't disagree with them.
Wendy's is good.
Wendy's chicken nuggets are amazing.
For you people out there that watch professional wrestling for some bizarre reason.
Not me.
Not you.
Sean,
you should watch Jim Cornette talk about Wendy's. Jim Cornette is this professional wrestling manager.
Sean, and let's also talk to Patrick, too. Sean and Patrick.
He has 1,000 shoot interviews, and one of them he ends up talking about Wendy's and how Wendy's is like the superior fast food place.
Yes, because it is.
It is. It really is. And,
man.
We went to Wendy's.
I want Wendy's right now.
Wendy's is fucking good.
Oh, man.
Dude, can we go?
We could.
Can we walk to something?
No, there's a McDonald's across the way.
Is it open 24 hours?
McDonald's is, but not
Let's
Wendy's.
go.
There's no Wendy's.
Let's go to McDonald's. I'll
Or,
eat McDonald's.
we can just watch
Dude, I'm
DVDs.
drunk. No, let's get McDonald's and then come back and watch DVDs.
But I have nachos. Well, I'll make nachos.
We can have nachos after McDonald's.
No, we'll have nachos. Period.
I was telling you, like I'll eat McDonald's. I'm not scared.
Then
I ain't scared.
Then you go, and I'm wearing jammies.
Oh,
right
you
now.
got shorts on. That's a bad
I got
deal.
short shorts.
Just throw sweatpants over it.
I don't have sweatpants to throw over it.
Fucking sleeping pants, like fucking pajama pants.
These are my sleeping pants. There are no pants.
Just throw any pants. Any pants.
There are no pants. I wear shorts, so I'll put shoes on and go like, hey, and I dance over McDonald's. So I'm like, hey, I need a quarter pounder right now.
So my wife and I go to fucking Disneyland.
Yeah.
Then we go to Magic Mountain. It's 108 degrees. There's nobody in the park. Mexicans pass out in the grass. Like, holy shit. We rode half the coasters, and then we went to this food stand that's over by the mine train, which I can't remember the name of right now. And I could just easily look it up using the internet, which I have accessible to me right now. And we basically got glasses of ice, like ice water. And we would just take the ice water and just dump it on our heads. And then just sit there for like 45 minutes.
What's going on?
So we rode like Apocalypse and Deja Vu, which is like giant inverted boomerang.
Yeah.
And then
Before they removed that, I never rode Deja Vu because they removed it.
That's in New England.
Yeah.
You should go. New England's not bad.
I'm not saying it's bad. I just never been on Deja Vu.
Actually it's terrible.
Okay, I won't go to. Fine, whatever. I understand how it is now. Okay, cool.
So we do all this stuff, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We go to Wendy's, we have lunch. We go to the airport. We go to fucking LAX. We drop off the rental car. We go to the airport and we flew 9 hours to the Cook Islands. After all this. I swear to God, my wife got this shit that was like a shaving kit, and it was like a scrub, and there was like a moisturizer, or not a moisturizer, but it was like a scrub and an aftershave, and I was like, Meredith,
We can't do this.
Baby, I love you. I need you to give me information. Like, my fucking gooch hurts. I have two items to put on. I have scrub and I have aftershave. What should I put on it? It's like, put on the aftershave. I walked to the bathroom at LAX with fucking aftershave. Put that on fucking my crotch.
Okay, so we got it.
This is a true story.
So we got to end this now.
Yeah.
So we're at 2 hours right now.
Holy shit.
Yeah, right?
Doesn't surprise me at all, but still.
Yeah, I know, right? So, do you want to get McDonald's? I'm just going to make nachos.
Let's get McDonald's. Dude, let's go. Come on, get pants on.
No, I'm just
Any pants. Dude, just put pants over the shorts. I'm telling you.
But it's like...
Dude, as a proper party.
So here's what we can do. We can drive over.
I'm way too fucked up to drive. I feel like if I leave the fucking parking lot, I'll get like a D. I'll blow like a 0.8.
We're gonna blow a 1.0.
Easy. What about fucking delivery? What do they have fucking Goombas? Do they have?
I have stuff here, you know.
Do they have stuff? Not StubHub. What's that place? Grubhub? Do they have Grubhub in their area?
Give or take, yeah.
Let's get some fucking...
Okay, so anyway. So we're going to figure out food.
Yeah.
We're going to figure out food at 1:30 in the morning.
Did we ever determine, like... Did we ever come to a conclusion as to what our determination was of, like, Disney versus... Like, what individual perception do we have of Disney?
No, of course. Who cares? The point is... The point is, I can make nachos tonight, which is like a bunch of cheddar cheese.
I need to eat food.
We'll deal with that.
I'm fat as fuck.
I got food. I got food. We don't have to go to McDonald's tonight. Don't worry about it. We have to watch that DVD you brought.
Yeah, I gotta watch. We gotta watch the DVD, and we gotta watch I don't know. What else is there to watch? There's
all the YouTube videos.
There's Danny Brown at the. Do you know what Danny Brown is?
No. Well, then there we go.
First of all, you need to learn to love Danny Brown.
Okay.
The second thing is you need to watch Danny Brown at the Gathering of the Juggalos.
Oh my God, no. You said Juggalos, and I'm like, no.
I know America is like, there's a lot of people that are like anti-Juggalo, and I too was anti-Juggalo for a long time.
I'm not anti-Juggalo. I just hear Juggalo, and I'm like, if that's the only thing I can hear about you, I'm like, okay, there may be an issue.
Juggalos are the future. We need to come to Juggalos.
Are you?
I
do you have a fucking Hatchet Man tattoo somewhere on you?
No, I don't like.
Or are you just writing?
Like everything, like all those bands, like all those acts do is garbage and it's horrible.
Yes,
it's all bad. Like none of it.
May I remind you that Tila
Tequila.
Yeah, the Nazi supremacist. The white.
She got fucking. They threw shit at her.
Yeah, because she's a terrible person. There you go. Maybe the Juggalo. Okay. Anyway,
Juggalos. Listen, everyone out there that shit on Juggalos. I understand where you're coming from because I've been shit on Juggalos forever.
Oh,
Juggalos are the only hope. Like we need to convert Juggalos.
So have you been reading the AV Club's coverage of the Juggalos for the past few years?
No, but I probably should have.
Sure. Anyway,
the Juggalos actually went out and asked Fago if they were unionized.
Okay. So
Alan, I'm just saying this is important. I'm just saying I understand.
Alan, where on the internet can we find you at?
At Gods on Safari, GODSONSAFARI on Twitter. You can also find me on Real Talk Guide to Awesome.
There you go.
Which is a great name. Real Talk Guide to Awesome at WordPress.com. And if you search Gods on Safari, you can probably find me somewhere on the internet and interact with me there.
And also you do our Hidden Attractions.
I do the Hidden Attraction series. I do a number of different posts. I apologize for not having the Indiana post up this weekend yet.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
I just have to link pictures to it and videos. It's really easy. I'm just lazy.
Yeah, well, no,
I have a real job, guys. I'm sorry. We all have real jobs, but like, my job is like real.
So, Jeff posted a new not hidden attractions. It's the top 30 attractions that were built at Disney World. So,
it's very good.
Disney. Yeah. I believe it's the he does great stuff. So I believe the newest one is the the Haunted Mansion version of it. The you see, I'm not looking it up right now, so this is where I'm at right now. But it's the not Claude Coates. It's the
I will tell you because I'm going to Google.
Thank you. Thank you, Alan. We'll see how it's going right now. You are clearly on brand right now.
I'm trying. This is what the internet has taught me: is to be on brand.
Yes,
being on brand is very important. If I should have said like follow me at DRIL on Twitter, like follow me at Drill. Like if I claim to be Drill, I'd be way more interesting.
Where's Darth? By the way, Darth hasn't been on Twitter in 2 months. Darth.
Who's Darth?
Darth? Okay, we have to talk later, but anyway.
He did... Hold on. He did the Museum of the Weird and the Rogues Gallery.
Museum of the Weird is the last one he did. But he has a lot of good stuff coming up, so... Yeah,
that dude seems cool. He doesn't seem to think that I'm a real human being, but that's cool. I don't think I'm real either if I were, like... totally external all this shit.
Well, it's very existential.
I don't know that I'm real right now.
Do you know what's real? No.
Porco's
real.
Can we take an Uber there?
No, we're gonna go tomorrow.
If I went there right now, I'd be really messed up.
Yeah, I know. So anyway, Alan,
Yes.
thank you for joining us. It's been a great 2.25 hours. With
I
you.
apologize for anyone listening to this. I really do. If you want me on your own podcast, please feel free to message me on Twitter. And I promise to be more sober and more coherent at that time. Coherent, even. Yes, that too.
That too. Yeah.
We can discuss neurocognition, because that's what I actually do in real life.
Yep. Alzheimer's
And dementia, vascular dementia. Really cognition change in general.
A really shitty word to know how to spell.
I do okay. I've spent enough time.
But to know how to spell that, really kind of shitty in a way.
I guess. Yeah. If you think about it on like an aesthetic level, yeah.
I know how to spell Alzheimer's.
It's not good.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
It's like I know how to spell like, Anyway. You can find all of us at, I don't know.
On Twitter somewhere.
Twitter
Talking
somewhere.
us.
Me at Parkscope Joe. All of us at Parkscope. Hey, did you hate us talking about all this random bullshit? I don't know. Sorry. I just I don't know. It's 1:30 in the morning right now. We've been talking for 2.5 hours.
I'm so messed up. It's hilarious.
Yeah, we've been messing around. You guys know what to do. You guys are so silly. Just go do what you gotta do. You know what to do. You guys know what to do.
You guys know the situation.
You guys, you know. Leave us a good review. Anyway.
We love you all.
Yes. Good night, everyone.